but I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 6, 9, 7.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Tuesday night, and that's one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general idea that we live in the upside down. Like I said, this show is live. If you want to be part of the show at any point tonight, the number to call is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord. It's a free chat and voice client, and lots of people are using it for lots of things. We use it to do a talk show. If you go to troubledminds.org, that's the official website. You can find the Discord link and the phone number right on top of the website. Can't miss it. Troubledminds.org, your one-stop shop for everything that is Troubled Minds. Now, like I said, this is live, and we are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're reading the chat. We're trying to keep up with you guys and have this be an interactive stream and broadcast and all the rest of that. And as part of that entire notion, it's how we've always done it. It's very much a two-way conversation here with myself and you. If you're out there listening and you can hear me, then I'm talking to you. I'm saying me and you. So I will. If I'm reading the phone number, I'm asking you to call. So if you've never called, maybe tonight's your night. And don't worry, I'm going to be nice to you. This is not one of those radio shows where you get on here and I try and make you look like a fool and then hang up on you and laugh. You know, it's not like that at all. This is one of those things where you can just kind of be yourself. You be you. I'll be me, and then together I think we can have a good conversation and get along. And as part of that, part of the whole process of having the two-way conversation as the rest of this goes, I think it's important to point out that the mainstream media is garbage, right? I think I have to mention that from time to time just to make sure that nobody gets the wrong idea about me or anything else. It's just garbage. The mainstream media is garbage. And so as I want you guys to always follow up on my sources, we've got lots of news to talk about tonight, which we'll get to in just a minute here. But I will link my sources. I'll let you know where I got the information from, because I want you guys to actually see where it came from. If it's propaganda, if it's BS, if you think somebody fooled me, whatever. That's the whole point of doing this live and sharing the sources and kind of talking about it with an open phone line. So that's what's up. That's what this show is about, and it is a two-way conversation. Now, the news. Now, this is crazy. If anybody's been paying attention, number one, on this show, we talk about UFOs quite a lot, okay? We kind of pay attention to the UFO news as it's coming out, because there's so few places you can probably get really hot off the press breaking UFO news from the UFO community, stuff that breaks from George Knapp, like he's on Coast to Coast, but he does it kind of once a week or once every other week, things like that. You'd have to go kind of dig up the sources. You'd have to go to Mystery Wire, his website. You'd have to, you spend a ton of time. Well, you don't have to do that. I got you. I got your back. So I pay attention. My ear is very close to the ground in the UFO community. So I don't have connections, but I do pay attention very closely to the conversations on Twitter, to the articles that come out, to how the mainstream treats the UFO topic, and all the rest of this. Okay. And so, like I said, so you don't have to. That's part of what this show is about. UFOs, right? Aliens, whether they exist or not. Some people claim they've been abducted, right? Some people claim they've had visitations of sorts, and other people claim there's no freaking way any of that's true. And so I think when you have so many different takes on one subject like this, I think it's important. It's important to talk about. It's important to keep it on the top of your mind, because of course, right? If we're talking about the existence of extraterrestrials, I think it changes the world we live in. Don't you think? If they're actually part of our world, part of our whatever it is that they're doing as they fly around and maybe stop to say hi or whatever it is. I have no idea. But okay, so if you haven't been paying attention now, the last several days, the whole bunch of UFO news has come ripping out, right? Like absolutely ripping out. And it's we're talking about, we've got a statement from Barack Obama, right? Everybody's favorite president, right? I mean, that's what we're told. Obama is supposed to be your favorite president, right? I'm just saying. So we have a statement from Obama regarding UFOs. We have a 60 minutes, an entire segment about, I think it's about 13, 14 minutes of nothing but UFO talk on 60 Minutes, which of course is a national television show that's been on for a long time. Apparently just under 9 million people saw this segment on Sunday on 60 Minutes. So, and they were talking about UFOs, right? So I think, and not just that, we have Chris Cuomo, right? Everybody knows the Cuomo brother that's on CNN. Not the jerk that's the governor of New York, his jerk brother, the guy that's on CNN, that Cuomo. Just throwing it out there to clarify, because, it's hard to separate one jerk from another. But so, like, there's a whole bunch of coverage that's happening over the past several days here, and it's people are going nuts, right? And you can follow these rabbit holes all the way down in the UFO community. They're fighting with each other as always, right? Nothing new here. But it is interesting that finally the mainstream has kind of turned onto what happened with not just the Nimitz incident. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this show, talking about the Tic Tacs, right? The Tic Tac UFOs that were flying around in the Pacific Ocean and doing all the rest of this stuff. And, the fighter pilots that have actually seen this thing, David Fravor and Commander Dietrich, I believe is her name. So there's a whole lot of that information coming out right now, and new statements that we haven't seen before. It's a little weird. It's a little weird that it's getting so much attention. So I put in the notes here when we started. We're going. The UFOs are in the mainstream. We're going mainstream, fam. That's what's going on here. So that's what's up. That's what's on deck tonight. We've got some statements that have been released from Barack Obama. From we got Sean Cahill and Chris Mellon. We're on the Cuomo show, well, whatever his name is, Chris Cuomo, and then we have actual statements, part of the 60-minute overtime segment with Fravor and Dietrich talking about the UFOs. So let's actually hear that. Let's start with that. Because the big news is that UFOs were on 60 Minutes, and just short of 9 million people did see this segment on Sunday night, okay? Which, of course, right, to us, big deal. We talk about UFOs. We think about UFOs. Some of us have seen UFOs. You know, this is not new to this community, right? To the folks on Fringe FM, to the folks that listen to Troubled Minds. This is not new. We've been talking about UFOs for years on this show. But to those maybe less than 9 million people, 8.7 million, something like that, 8.70 million, it maybe opens up an entire world of conversation for all the normies, right? For all the people that kind of don't get it. So anyway, let's start with that. Let's go to some statements made on 60 Minutes by Commander David Fravor, and then also Commander Dietrich, which also she was his wingman, his partner in crime in the sky. Let's say I don't know what they call it. I'm not from the military. I'm not a naval aviator, so you excuse my sloppy terms here. But listen to what they're saying. This was the interview on 60 Minutes Overtime as they discussed what happened with these Tic Tac UFOs in the sky that day in the Pacific. Action.
Did the thought of UFO enter your minds?
It was unidentified, and that's why it was so unsettling to us, because we weren't expecting it, because we couldn't classify it. But what I want to be really careful of here is that we don't jump to conclusions, right? That we don't sensationalize this or...
Little green men?
Little green men or extraterrestrial.
Yeah. You're seeing something that defies explanation.
Right.
Very much.
Yes.
It was November 2004, and the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was training about 100 miles southwest of San Diego. The advanced new radar on a nearby ship, the USS Princeton, had detected what operators called multiple anomalous aerial vehicles over the horizon, descending 80,000 feet in less than a second. Fravor and Dietrich, each with a weapons system officer in the back seat, were ordered to investigate and found an area of whitewater in an otherwise calm blue sea. It appeared to them that an object about the size of a 737 was just under the water.
So, as we're looking at this, her backseater says, "Hey, Skipper, do you?" And about that got out, I said, "Dude, do you see that thing down there?" And we saw this little white tic-tac looking object, and it's just kind of moving above the whitewater area.
Do you ever drop your phone and it sort of bounces off the countertop and then bounces off something else, and it's sort of like no predictable movement, no predictable trajectory?
Yeah.
Yes, it was just
like a ping pong ball.
No acceleration.
Okay, notice what they're saying here. So they actually saw this tic-tac craft, this UFO in the sky, all right? Except in this case, it wasn't in the damn sky, was it? It was in the water. It was just above the water. It was just under the water. It was causing the ocean to foam, right? I think at some point we should probably revisit the whole underwater UFO thing, because there seems to be a lot of information that kind of corroborates it could be a possibility. So I think at some point we'll circle back and talk about that, maybe the Christopher Columbus sighting, which actually is in his journal, by the way, if you guys didn't know about that. He says that they saw a UFO literally come out of the ocean and fly up and disappear into the night sky as it kind of checked out their boat as they were coming across the Atlantic there. So is that true? Who knows, right? Who knows? I think that's part of why we do this show the way we do it and talk about these things, because you have to be able to consider propaganda as exactly that. And as many of you know, that I want to believe just like everybody else, but I also don't want to be fooled by propaganda. And so, of course, to me, that makes a good conversation, right? It's fun to think about, it's fun to talk about, and that's why we do it. So that was part one. So notice, right, Commander David Fravor and Commander Dietrich, they both saw, and I don't know actually if they're both commanders. You'll have to excuse that. Let's see. Hold on. I'll find out. But so both of these fighter pilots, let's call it that, because that's the case. They both saw these tic-tac objects, all right? These actual UFOs. No flight surfaces, completely, oblong, sort of ovalish, stretched out a little bit like short cigars, all white in color, and they were zipping around. So this first one, as they're describing it, they saw it kind of floating just above the ocean, right? This UFO, USO, unidentified submerged object, right? Was just kind of chilling on top of the water or just below the water, and it was creating this foaming in the ocean that they could see. And so they're like, what in the world is that? Do you guys see that? So not only did both pilots see it, they're, as they called them, they're the guy, the backseater, their co-pilot inside the F-18 Hornet, Super Hornets they're called actually. They had 4 witnesses just in these 2 planes that saw these UFOs back in 2004. Okay, so, and again, right? I think you kind of can't crap on them just because they because they're saying we saw UFOs. I mean, we're talking about actual fighter pilots here that are essentially trained observers, right? I mean, they have to be able to identify things in the sky, because sometimes their life might depend on it. And so, to kind of have them all at once just go, what in the world is that in the water? Or just below the water, just above the water. You can't really tell, right? Because you're flying above this thing. You look down and you see the water foaming and something hovering. So anyway, point being that this is back to that Nimitz incident with the Tic Tacs in 2004, just off the coast of California and Southern California actually. And what were they? Now, okay, so as you guys know, again, if you've listened to the show, you know that I'm a little bit annoyed by some of this stuff, and I'll tell you why. I'll explain why I'm annoyed by some of this. It's because in particular I don't know what's propaganda and what is not. Okay, so in the past 3 years, we've dealt with this whole Tom DeLonge to the Stars Academy thing, the Disclosure Project or whatever you want to call that. We did a show on that way back, or we've talked about it often on this show, so I won't rebrief that entire thing and bore the heck out of you. But, for probably a couple, 3 years, oddly enough, as we started this show and started talking about UFOs, the UFO disclosure, what would you call it? Like a disclosure program or disclosure? I don't know. Like it started happening, right? It's like we had these Tic Tac videos released. We had these fighter pilots coming forward saying, "Yeah, I saw UFOs." All this other stuff, right? Kind of right as we started this show. It's a little bit weird that. That maybe a little bit of serendipity there, where like I said, where we've gone mainstream, fam. This is crazy. Like 60 Minutes is talking about UFOs, whereas 3 years ago when nobody was listening. They were just like, yeah, sure, Michael Strange, whatever, buddy. But now it's changing. The media landscape is changing. They're discussing these things differently. And notice too, I want to point this out. If this had happened, if they had aired 60 Minutes when Donald Trump was president, just throwing this out there, do you think it would have got coverage, or do you think they would have wasted the time? I think it's a little interesting to look at the political landscape as well, and notice that a lot of the mainstream media didn't have time between breathlessly chanting "Orange Man bad" to even do anything like this. So I wonder. It makes me wonder, right? If as you know, suspicious, right? I do have a troubled mind, but it makes me wonder that if during the Trump presidency, if there actually would have been a feature like this on 60 Minutes. So anyway, just some thoughts, right? Some as we kind of go through this and talk about it. Don't get all upset and twisted in a bunch because I said the Orange Man or whatever. Right? It's okay. Like this is as apolitical as possible. I'm just trying to point out the way the media reacts based on clearly what's happening with the president and whatnot. So anyway, with all that said, we're going to just keep talking about this as we do. I'm going to put the phone number up again. What did you guys think about this? Did anybody actually see this 60 Minutes segment, or were you impressed? Do you not care? What's going on with this? I think that's really the question here tonight is why has the mainstream adopted this so hard? Why? I mean, there's headlines everywhere. The New York Post, everywhere, like literally everywhere. CBS, NBC, no matter where you go right now, just pull open Google or a web browser or something and just type in UFO and watch what happens. It's an unbelievable avalanche of coverage for this. And so to me, I'm not sure what to think. I just don't know, because again, right, I'm suspicious. I'm a little bit suspicious. I'm suspicious of the media. I'm suspicious of their intentions. I'm suspicious of a lot of things when it comes to mainstream propaganda. And so I don't know what to think regarding this exact thing. Some people are celebrating this and they're saying, fantastic. Here comes disclosure, right? They're going to tell us the aliens are here, right? But I don't know. I'm not so sure. Personally, I'm not so sure that's the case here. So anyway, we played the first clip of Fravor and Dietrich, the two actual fighter pilots that witnessed the Tic Tacs in 2004. Let's play the rest, but also phone number first. Looking to hear from you. What do you think about all this? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can join the Discord at troubledminds.org. Phone number is also on top of the website. All right. That's the question tonight. Given all of this crazy mainstream coverage of UFOs now, do you think anything will change? I think that's really kind of what's on the top of my mind right now. So that's the question for you tonight. And do you care? I think that's a very valid to just throw that out there as big whoop, So they've said something about it. It doesn't change whether it's real or not. Now they're just talking about it, right? So anyway, here we go. Let's play part 2 of this clip, and then we'll keep on trucking.
Very, very random.
Acceleration.
As Dietrich circled above, Fravor went in for a closer look. So you're sort of spiraling down?
Yep. The Tic Tac still point north-south. It goes and just turns abruptly and starts mirroring me. So as I'm coming down, it starts coming up.
So it's mimicking your moves.
Yeah, it was aware we were there. We want to see how close I can get. So I go like this, and it's climbing still. And when it gets right in front of me, it just disappears. Disappears. Like gone.
And you saw no visible propulsion,
Right.
no wings or anything to
No.
make it fly in our atmosphere?
No, actually, when it turned and started coming up, it was kind of like, okay. Because we have nothing that goes that fast and just starts climbing at will.
Seconds later, the Princeton reacquired the target 60 miles away.
So in a matter of...
Like that.
Yeah, it just appeared there.
In seconds.
Yeah.
It was 60 miles away. Later, another flight crew encountered what they believed to be the same object and briefly locked onto it with a targeting camera before it zipped off again.
They didn't get a visual on it, but they did get this FLIR footage, the forward-looking infrared.
So you've got the infrared image
Right.
Yes.
and your eyesight
Yes.
and the Princeton
The radar.
all saying there is something out there.
Yes.
The Princeton had been tracking the anomalous objects for days. Dietrich says they were unarmed.
I felt the vulnerability of not having anything to defend ourselves, to not having any rounds, anything on the rails. If this was in fact a hostile threat, and we were engaged, I felt vulnerable, and then I felt confused when it disappeared.
Okay, so there are the first-hand accounts of two fighter pilots that actually witnessed these Tic Tacs back in 2004. All right, and so if you know me, and many of you do, you'll understand that I'm a little annoyed with this, because if we're literally seeing UFOs every day, as has been suggested recently, UFOs every day, and I quote, every day. We'll get to that in a little bit, but how come we only have these three, right? These three gun camera videos of these Tic Tacs and these other things, right? There should be more. There should be tons and tons of data. I've been saying this for months and even years at this point, that you're not going to satisfy the public with three crappy videos. I'm sorry. You're not going to do it. As compelling as they may be or not, if you're, depends on who you ask, you're not going to satisfy people. If you have more data than that, we need to see it. And so that's maybe coming to a head this summer with this UFO unclassified report that they're supposed to do. But anyway, in any case, don't let me get ahead of myself. Well, I do it once in a while anyway. But that's what we're talking about tonight. If you want to be part of the show, love to hear from you. The phone number is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We're talking about UFOs tonight, and not just UFOs, that the mainstream media has picked it up. Does it change anything? Do you care? Do you think they're liars? Well, that's part of the conversation. One more time, 702-957-1037. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're taking your phone calls. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we're talking about UFOs. In case you've been living in a cave for the past 3-4 days, maybe you didn't notice. The mainstream media has gone UFO crazy. So what does that mean for us? For this audience, for this family, for this group of individuals that thinks about UFOs often, that we like to think about the possibility of extraterrestrials maybe being here already. Does it change anything? I think maybe that's part of it here. So that's the deal, right? That's what we're talking about tonight. Again, 702-957-1037. Join the Discord. Looking to hear from you. Do you care? Do you care that 60 Minutes actually aired a segment on UFOs? Like I said, just short of 9 million people supposedly saw this, and it's really catapulted this conversation into the mainstream. And we'll look at some of this stuff as we go tonight. But we got hot takes all over the place. We got John McAfee of the McAfee antivirus fame, who's now in jail, incarcerated for tax evasion. Speaking of taxes, no, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Oh boy. All right. So John McAfee actually tweeted something hilarious, which we'll get to. I've got some stuff, some hot takes from some notable individuals that are talking about UFOs now. And I think that's part of it, right? I think, the Daily Caller, like I said, the New York Post, CNN, like everybody has picked up this UFO story because, of course, what happens? Well, once the what are they called? 60 Minutes. Once 60 Minutes picks it up, everybody has to pick it up, right? It's so weird that it doesn't really change the data. It doesn't change the information that we've had or have not had, right? This is all still relevant and real and part of the conversation. But now suddenly we have a lot more people interested, which is good. I think that's definitely good. But beyond that, I'm not really sure what is going on. Is my internet dying? What's up? What's up, guys, in the chat? Can you hear me? Am I lagging up? What the heck is going on here? I hope the internet's not dying. That would suck. But okay, all right, I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to pretend like nothing's happening, and I'm going to just keep talking. But okay, all right. So this is the deal. We're talking about... Oh, no internet. All right, sweet. The internet died? Okay. Mrs. Strange says the internet has just died. Okay. I'm going to keep talking, and yeah, this is not good. All right. Well, it is what it is. When you have a live show, this is what happens. But okay, I'm going to keep talking, and we're going to keep doing this. But okay, so that's really the question tonight, what we're looking at, and what's going on. What's up? Will you hear me on YouTube? Thank you. Appreciate that. Everything's freaking out a little bit. And I don't know. Looks like the router's fine. Looks like everything's good. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to just keep on talking then. Okay. If we get disconnected, we get disconnected. But okay. So does it change anything for you that 60 Minutes has talked about this? Again, the both fighter pilots, Fravor and Dietrich, have described these Tic Tacs that they saw recently. As recently as 2004. Witnessed these things floating just above or just under the water, moving 80,000 feet in 1 second, things like this. Does it change anything for you? Now, just because 60 Minutes has covered it, does it change anything like that? All right, no internet connection. Okay, now I'm really mad because the baseball game has died. So maybe we're next. But okay, the baseball game that's on in the other room. All right, so anyway, yep, buffering. Okay, we have problems. I'm going to just keep talking. Yeah, it's going to be what it is. Okay, so that's what's up, right? That's what's going on with the conversation tonight. If you want to be a part of it, 702-957-1037, watching the phone lines, watching the Discord, and I'm going to play some more clips as we figure out what's going on here. So I'll play a couple of these clips, and if we have to go circle back and get back at them in a minute here, no problem. We'll try and weather this storm and keep on rolling. So here's the Chris Cuomo show, all right? Now, Chris Cuomo, like I said, he's a anchor on CNN, and he's a big fat jerk, in my opinion, but what do I know? And he had Sean Cahill and Chris Mellon on his show yesterday. So here's the clips that came from that. So I'm going to play a little bit of this, and then we're going to hopefully weather the internet storm that's happening here. Let's play Chris Cuomo, Part 1, action.
Next month, Congress is expecting a report from the Director of National Intelligence and other agencies on UFOs or UAPs. Now, that's the government term for them. It stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. Why? Well, a retired U.S. Navy pilot came forward to say he and his crew witnessed an unidentified flying object on the coast of the Atlantic several times. And he's not the only one. Joining us now, someone who has personally witnessed sightings, retired Navy Chief Master at Arms Sean Cahill, joined by Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. Thank you both. Appreciate you for joining me.
Good evening, Chris.
Pleasure, thank you.
All right, so let's dispense with the obvious here. Chris, people are going to eye roll and say, boy, was Cuomo light on what to talk about tonight. Why is this worth discussion?
Because we have recurring violations of U.S. airspace by unidentified vehicles that are very capable, in some cases more capable than anything in our own inventory. This has been going on for years. The truth is just emerging. We've had a massive intelligence failure, and we now have a threat, an unknown threat that we need to figure out.
So, Sean, it's not that you're worried about something out of a movie coming to get you. It's about the threat right here on Earth and how it's being motivated without our knowledge and ability to counter.
All right. Okay. So back to this, right? It's not really a threat, but it might be a threat, right? Back to that. So I don't know. Like I said, as you guys know, this kind of this propaganda stuff that coming from the government, coming from the media, not to kind of crap on the sources. Sean Cahill's fine. Chris Mellon's fine, in my opinion. These guys are okay, but it's just the hot take is you get the guys on there that want to talk about the narrative, right? Whatever narrative they want to push, and I think that's part of my suspicion with all of this. And So anyway, this is again the Chris Cuomo show. We've got Sean Cahill and Chris Mellon on this. I know we're having some internet problems right now, so if you're out there not hearing me, I will play these clips again as we continue. So if you miss it now, stay tuned. We're going to play more. So here we go. Part 2, the Chris Cuomo show. Sean Cahill and Chris Mellon talking about the mainstream media and how they've picked up UFOs. Of course, we're talking about the 60 Minutes and then all the mainstream coverage and all the rest of this. So let's play Part 2, Chris Cuomo. I still think he's a jerk. Action.
That's correct, Chris. In 2004, I was the Chief Master at Arms on board the USS Princeton, and the technology that we witnessed with the Tic Tac was something that we would not have been able to defend our forces against at the time.
Help me understand that. As the uninitiated, what does that mean to us?
Well, sir, that means that what we saw in the Tic Tac and what Mr. Luis Elizondo describes as the 5 observables indicate a technology that outstrips our arsenal by at least 100 to 1,000 years at the moment.
100 to 1,000. So, meaning like what kind of technology was at play that you were able to identify it but know that you can't match it?
Well, first of all, the aircraft had 0 control surfaces. It had no means of propulsion that we could detect. It moved at hypersonic velocities, and it preceded the pilots to their cap point, so it seemed to have some knowledge of where the pilots were headed ahead of time, and we don't possess those abilities to do that in our arsenal at the moment.
What does that sound like to you, Chris Mellon?
Well, we clearly are vulnerable, and this has been going on for too long. Finally, our Congress is learning of this situation. They're beginning to react. So we've got a lot of catch up here. but it is very concerning. It's not an imminent crisis or imminent threat. There's been no hostility, but there's a lot of activity, and it's increasingly bold. In some instances, recently we've had these things swarming around warships off the coast of California, swarming around strategic missile defense bases in Guam, and other things. So with all the tensions in the world and China and the rest, with the attack on the Saudi oil facilities by drones and so forth, it's something we need to take seriously.
Okay, so it's something we need to take seriously, right? Which, of course, we understand that, being, of the UFO community, at least in the periphery, right? We're interested, at least. So, to us, it's kind of like, no kidding, like, duh. This is something that, obviously, if this UFO stuff is real, it should probably be, get top billing in the news cycles. But again, like Tim said, what's up, Tim? Shout out to Tim in Georgia. Is that the leaders of, these, the world leaders, as they were, don't like saying we don't know. Okay. And so as part of that whole narrative, they can't tell us we don't know. They just can't do it. They have to be able to give us, some sort of plausible deniability or, kind of make something up to make it seem like everything's under control, right? To make sure that, kind of like I always say, that we live in this illusion that everything's not upside down, right? But then the closer you pay attention, the more you realize that, holy crap, like everything is upside down, right? And so, I think that's part of the shtick here. Part of what they're trying to do is keep information from us, because I believe there's a lot of stuff they don't know, and they're scared to address because it'll open up kind of a can of worms with different questions that they don't want to talk about. But so yeah, there we go. So again, Chris Mellon and Sean Cahill on the Chris Cuomo show. All right. Now again, like I said, Chris Cuomo from CNN, the guy. Okay, I'm not going to say it, but let's say that doesn't he see? I'm not going to say it directly. I'll say it indirectly. Doesn't it seem like he's hopped up on something most of the time? I'm just saying. I'm just speculating. But anyway, Chris Cuomo from CNN, he's talking UFOs. And notice, interestingly, like I said, if CNN would have covered UFOs during the Trump administration. So it's important for this reason, because if they're all propaganda all the time, all right, and so it was like 4 years straight of Orange Man Bad from CNN, literally, like breathlessly. So why have they taken the time to talk about it now? So the question in my mind becomes, are they trying to distract us from something else? Okay. I think that's really the question here. And that's why, not to bring up politics and turn it into all that, but you understand what I'm saying, is that the media kind of pivots based on the things they want us to know, based on what they want us to think about, based on the propaganda, as it were. Okay. So that's why it's important to point out. So again, let me know if the internet clears up here. We got lots of folks out there watching and listening, but let me know. Let me know if this clears up. But I will play these clips again as we continue. So if you missed something, stay tuned. We'll circle back. So don't worry. No viewer, no listener left behind. Okay, here we go. So part 3. This is the Chris Cuomo show, and again, he had Sean Cahill and Chris Mellon on the show with him. So let's hear it. Part 3. This is from CNN yesterday on the Chris Cuomo show. Action.
You answered the question partly there, but let's fill it out a little bit. This is not new. People play with this, and they played all kinds of conspiratorial thinking, but a lot of real military and policy people say, look, there are things out there that we got to keep track of that we can't. But why now? What's new in terms of the urgency, Chris? And I'll ask you both about this.
Sure, happy to address that. So what happened was, a couple of years ago, Lou Elizondo in the Pentagon, who was managing this activity with almost no resources, he and I and a few others became aware that this was going on a very significant scale on the East Coast at the time, and our pilots were not getting any support. The intel community was not responding. Nobody was helping these guys out, and it wasn't being reported up the chain. It wasn't until that got into the New York Times and got to the attention of Congress that finally our leadership in both branches of government became aware that this was going on. So this has only just come to light.
Only just come to light. So that's what I mean. This is not, sure, fine. Are we, now let's backtrack, all right? Let's go back to 1947. Yep, 1947. Now, supposedly, in UFO mythology, there was a crash, a UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico, right? Not really in Roswell. It was just outside the little town there at the time. But apparently, this is when the UFO craze really started, okay? So we're talking 70 years ago. This is a long-ass time ago, right? But now here's the thing. If you're telling me it took 70 years for Congress to finally have a hearing about this and maybe put out a declassified, unclassified report, I would say no. I would say, they've known about this stuff for a very long time, and they're just trying to keep information from us. Again, like I said, the leaders that be, the powers that be, the leaders of the free world, whatever you want to call them, if you want to speak of them nicely or derogatorily, I don't care, because politicians are all garbage in my opinion. But, so you do you. There's no problem. But the thing is, they know, somebody out there knows about what's going on, and they're trying to hide it from us. And that's, again, the thing that drives me the most insane about this is suddenly we have Tom DeLonge and, To the Stars Academy and all the rest of this. And these guys are suddenly bringing about this disclosure movement, right? I don't know. Yeah. What's up, Flat Philo, a stream that works? Is YouTube having problems? I think is the internet down? The internet may be down. What's up, guys? What's up, everybody out there? Everybody's saying there's problems everywhere. I don't think it's me because it's people are hearing me, people are not hearing me. But okay, so 70 years Roswell. Okay, now bring us to 2021, and 60 Minutes reports this. It's again, mainstream media is all over this now. Like I said, pull up Google, your favorite search engine, whatever it is, type in UFO and hit enter. Watch what happens. It's unbelievable. The avalanche of coverage. It's crazy. But again, right, in many cases, there's not a lot of new information. Okay, there is some. We'll talk about it. But we've been talking about this Tic Tac stuff, the Nimitz incident, the stuff that happened off the Atlantic coast. There's a lot of this that's been known for years now, literally years. And so I think that's part of the problem here. Is now the mainstream media tries to pay attention to it. For what purpose? Do you really think that Chris Cuomo and, let's say Ben Shapiro or Sean Hannity or guys like this, do you really think these guys are interested in UFOs? I mean, if we're being real, right? I mean, they're interested in their line of cheddar, wherever they're getting paid. And they're not paid to talk about UFOs, right? They're paid to pump propaganda. That's what they're paid to do. So, again, like I said, I get suspicious. Anyway, so let's continue. Clip 4 of the Chris Cuomo show with Sean Cahill and Chris Mellon, and let's play this part 4 action.
Sean, what do you think is the likely universe of explanation that will come up at the end of these reports and addressing of this?
Chris, I think that we're going to find that this phenomenon represents a very large spectrum of different things. At edges of that spectrum are going to be near peer technology of our adversaries here on Earth. At the other end of that spectrum is going to be something that we don't yet understand and haven't identified yet. So I hesitate to speculate on the source, but I can tell you that I don't believe that this is within our arsenal of any human technology at the moment.
So when you say that, it almost guarantees that not just your good looks, but that statement will get this picked up and sent all over the internet, because there'll be a legit military person saying that maybe this is from outer space. Do you want that to be taken from people?
Well, that would be taking my words out of context. What we can say is that we don't know what this is, and it's here. It's going to take all of us to figure this out together.
And Chris, what's your comment on that? They'll say, look at the resumes of these two guys. They're both saying that it might be from another world.
There's no scientific reason or basis to doubt that possibility. That's a hypothesis that could explain the facts. People need to be open to that. We're spending billions looking for extraterrestrial civilizations. We've got spacecraft that have already left the solar system. It's possible somebody found us before we found them.
Did you hear that? We're putting spacecraft out there into our solar system. It's possible that somebody found us before we found them. Who would that somebody be? Yeah, that's right. That's right. I hate to bring it back to that, but little green men, right? Little green men. And, I realize that's a derogatory term, probably for many reasons. You're probably not supposed to frivolously just bring about the color of an entity's skin, if you know what I'm saying. But little green men, all right? And of course, that's tongue-in-cheek there. I made it funny. But right, I mean, why? Why now? Like I said, do you think Chris Cuomo could spare a minute during the Trump administration to talk about UFOs? I don't think he did. So I think that's part of what's going on with this, what makes me suspicious about all these things, and about, how when the media pivots to talk about this stuff. Sure, fine. 60 Minutes picked it up. Again, Fravor and Dietrich, these fighter pilots, no new information there. Many people knew her identity before. She's now actually coming out and putting the face, the name and the face out there as, she saw the Tic Tacs and all the rest of this. But in the end, does it really change much? So basically, this is how I see it, is that the normies will pick up whatever they're going to pick up, right? The clickbait value of this, and then they will move on, right? Maybe it's a good thing by putting it in the zeitgeist. Maybe that's good. But otherwise, like I said, we have very little new information. And, I realize that asking for classified information from the government is futile, all right? It's something that probably should not or cannot happen, at least, with any success. But it is weird now that everybody in the world has a hot take on UFOs, right? And like I said, go to Twitter, type in UFO and see what happens in the search. And everybody out there is talking about UFOs. So that's got to be a good thing, right? I think in some capacity, that's got to be a good thing. So I don't know. Like I said, I kind of have, two ways of looking at this. And one is I'm suspicious of the mainstream media, as I always am. But then two, it is kind of putting this information, like I said, even though it's old information, even though we're not really learning much new, it is putting the conversation into the mouths of folks that typically would not be talking about this. So I don't know. What do you think? Again, like I said, I understand that the internet's a little choppy. People are saying YouTube's down all over the place. So I don't know. Maybe we have a ongoing cyber attack, and it's. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I've said it before. I'm not a doom preacher, so I'm not going to do that. But okay. So, like I said, what does this make you feel like? We pay close attention to the UFO field. We pay close attention to the evidence that kind of comes out. We pay close attention to the conversations that happen regarding it. But now, everything has changed. Just because everybody that doesn't know anything about this has a hot take on UFOs. All right? So I think that's the question. Do you care? Should I care? I don't know. I think it's worthy of a discussion, but maybe long term, I'm not so sure. Yeah, everything's buffering. I don't know. I don't know if it's YouTube or me or anything else. I can't shut down the internet and restart this in the middle of a live show. So we're going to just power through this. And if there's nobody listening because it goes chop, 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 I don't know what else to do. So basically, that's what's up. That's the conversation tonight. Hopefully we can get through this internet mess or whatever's going on here. But we're still taking your phone calls. Let's test the phone lines if you guys are out there and listening. And giving a crap about the conversation. And I don't say that as like a, kind of a derogatory thing. I mean, like, do you care? Do you care about what the mainstream talks about? Do you care about what Congress or politicians talk about? That's what I mean. Do you give a crap about that? Well, because I barely do. I tell you what. But okay, so as we wind up this segment, we're again live on the Fringe FM, live on DLive, YouTube, and Facebook, and I hear we're having all kinds of internet trouble. So if you want to be part of the show, let's test the phone line, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And we're talking about UFOs tonight and how the mainstream media has pivoted to discuss this right now to follow 60 Minutes in their lead. So give me a call. Let me know what you think. I'm going to keep talking about this. I'm going to keep thinking about this because I think these things are important. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Don't go anywhere. More UFO discussion after the break.
I wish none of this had happened.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide.
meant to find the ring, in which case you also were meant to have it. And that is an encouraging thought.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Yo ho, yo ho. Welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. Now, I'm getting reports that YouTube is down over, I don't know, many areas of the country, many areas of the world. They say live streams and the actual videos themselves are struggling. And I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I'm not a doom preacher, so I'm not going to say the end is nigh. It's only YouTube, guys. No offense. YouTube's fine and all. But anyway, so this is a show where we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. Those things, of course. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the odd feeling that we live in the upside down. This show is live. If you want to be part of the show tonight, the number to call is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link. Go to troubledminds.org, the official website. As long as the web is still up, I mean, I don't really know. I'm just here talking into a microphone, so I might be talking to myself for all I know. But I'm going to just keep doing it. And, well, you know, if this is how they have to take me down, this is how they have to stop us, they have to break the entire internet, well, so be it. So be it. But anyway, we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And there's a bunch of ways, if you guys are out there, if you can hear me and it's kind of being patchy or whatever, go to TalkStream Live and click on Fringe FM. And that's a radio app, and it will should take you to the stream here. And also, apparently, Facebook is working fine. Okay, so I know we're having problems. Let's see. Russian bot 1234 says, I'm here, Mike. I couldn't get YouTube to work. So apparently DLive and Facebook are working fine, and YouTube is having problems. YouTube is struggling. It's a struggling. So whatever. We're going to just keep on doing our thing and talking about UFOs because that's what we're talking about tonight. So let's motor through some of these things. I don't know what you guys heard from the last segment there because we were all over the place with the internet. My YouTube is still buffering like crazy as well. So I thought it was my internet that took a crap, but apparently it's the YouTube servers at some point, right? That's what's going on. What's up, Gregory? Good stuff. All right, yeah, keep calm and ramble on. Let's do this. All right, so what's up? We got UFOs. All right, so not only that. Here, now we're going to circle back and start with because, like I said, I don't know exactly what you guys heard when we started this conversation, but we're talking about UFOs. All right, and we're talking about 60 Minutes, how they covered this. The mainstream media has picked this up, and a lot of people are, it's now. UFOs and little green men are kind of on the tips of people's tongues, right? Based on what the media is telling us. Because, of course, they're talking about the fighter pilots Fravor and Dietrich, which saw the Tic Tac UFOs back in 2004 off the coast of Southern California while flying FA-18 Super Hornets. Okay, that's a fighter jet for those of you folks not in the know that don't know what that's or care what a fighter jet is, and I don't blame you. But anyway, meaning the models and stuff. Clearly, everybody knows what a fighter jet is. But anyway, I digress. Now, they saw these things flying these FA-18 Super Hornets, and they ended up. Let's just hear it in their words. This is again fighter pilots Fravor and Dietrich discussing what they saw in 2004 off the coast of Southern California.
Did the thought of UFO enter your minds?
It was unidentified, and that's why it was so unsettling to us, because we weren't expecting it, because we couldn't classify it. But what I want to be really careful of here is that we don't jump to conclusions, right? That we don't sensationalize this or...
Little green men.
Little green men or extraterrestrial.
Yeah. You're seeing something that defies explanation.
Right.
Very much.
Yes.
It was November 2004, and the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was training about 100 miles southwest of San Diego. The advanced new radar on a nearby ship, the USS Princeton, had detected what operators called multiple anomalous aerial vehicles over the horizon, descending 80,000 feet in less than a second. Fravor and Dietrich, each with a weapons system officer in the back seat, were ordered to investigate and found an area of whitewater in an otherwise calm blue sea. It appeared to them that an object about the size of a 737 was just under the water.
So, as we're looking at this, her backseater says, "Hey, Skipper, do you?" And about that got out, I said, "Dude, do you see that thing down there?" And we saw this little white tic-tac looking object, and it's just kind of moving above the whitewater area.
Do you ever drop your phone and it sort of bounces off the countertop and then bounces off something else, and it's sort of like no predictable movement, no predictable trajectory?
Yeah.
I guess. It was just
like a ping pong ball.
No acceleration.
Okay, and so this is a UFO they're describing. Everybody knows this story if you've been paying attention to the world of UFOs. Back in 2004, again, like I said, off the coast of Southern California, these fighter pilots saw what they described as a tic-tac, all right? These tic-tac UFOs, and whatever that means, I mean, as they described it, it's floating, hovering above or just below the water. It's causing foam. They're flying. There's 4 witnesses in these 2 planes, and they see this stuff. And so not only are they seeing these things, they're talking about it, not just during the flight, of course, going, radioing back to, through communications, through official, of course, military communications saying, hey, what the heck is this thing? So presumably they have radar data, right? They have infrared data on this. They have eyewitnesses. They say this thing actually kind of floated down and caught, maybe went into the water and came out of the water. Snap your fingers, 80,000 feet. It was like it was gone that fast. It moved 80,000 feet in less than a second. And so these are the types of things that they're talking about, right? And like I said, it's not new. Like, this information is not new. This is all the way back to 2004. And so not only that, the past 3 years, people have been talking about this like crazy. We have, for sure. And like I said, much to my frustration is we still have this disclosure movement. It's 3 years of the same old crap. And so fine, we're regurgitating some of that and talking about, the exact same incident in 2004, but it's on 60 Minutes now. All right. So like I said, is that good? Is that different? What the heck is going on with my mic? So is that should we care? I mean, that's really the conversation here. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, that's what's up. That's what's happening. And let's play part 2. This is from 60 Minutes Overtime, and then we've got Obama. Obama comments on this, right? Like I said, everybody's favorite president, right? Because if he's not your favorite president, apparently you're a horrible name. Let's just leave it at that. But we'll get to Obama's comments in just a sec as well. He actually commented on this, and so everybody in the mainstream is kind of pivoting to talk about UFOs now, which is weird. It's weird if you ask me. Here we go. Part 2, Fravor, Dietrich, fighter pilots that saw these tic-tac UFOs in 2004.
Very, very random.
Acceleration.
As Dietrich circled above, Fravor went in for a closer look. So you're sort of spiraling down?
Yep. The tic-tac still pointing north-south. It goes and just turns abruptly and starts mirroring me. So as I'm coming down, it starts coming up.
So it's mimicking your moves.
Yeah, it was aware we were there. You want to see how close I can get. So I go like this, and it's climbing still. And when it gets right in front of me, it just disappears. Disappears. Like gone.
And you saw no visible propulsion,
right.
no wings or anything to make it fly in our atmosphere?
No, actually, when it turned and started coming up, it was kind of like, okay. Because we have nothing that goes that fast and just starts climbing at will.
Seconds later, the Princeton reacquired the target 60 miles away.
So in a matter of...
Like that.
Yeah, it just appeared there.
In seconds.
Yeah.
It was 60 miles away. Later, another flight crew encountered what they believed to be the same object and briefly locked onto it with a targeting camera before it zipped off again.
They didn't get a visual on it, but they did get this FLIR footage, the forward-looking infrared.
So you've got the infrared image
Yes.
and your eyesight.
Yes.
And the Princeton,
the radar,
all saying there is something out there.
Yes.
The Princeton had been tracking the anomalous objects for days. Dietrich says they were unarmed.
You know, I felt the vulnerability of not having anything to defend ourselves, to not having any rounds, anything on the rails. If this was in fact a hostile threat and we were engaged, I felt vulnerable, and then I felt confused when it disappeared.
Okay. All right. So we have fighter pilots that witnessed this UFO, and this UFO is bouncing all over the place. They describe it moving around the sky like a ping pong ball. All right. Like it is just bouncing from point to point, and they're trying to figure out what the hell this thing is and what's going on with this. Again, you know, like I said, this story is not new. If you've been following this at all, even in the periphery, you know this story is not new. This has been regurgitated quite a lot. And like I said, this is the thing that irritates me the most about all this. Sure, fine. If this is a disclosure movement, shouldn't we have new footage? It's been 3 damn years. And we still have these same 2 incidents. And not only that, the most important things about these incidents, the Tic Tac and then the one that happened in the Atlantic as well, they actually don't even focus on the most important thing, and that's that they were tracking these UFOs for days. And it wasn't just a few, it was a fleet of UFOs in the sky. All right? So, again, explain to me why suddenly we have every mainstream pundit out there wagging their tongue about UFOs right now. Is it to distract from something else? Right? Some people have said the fake alien invasion, as Werner von Braun has suggested through Carol Rosen, right? Things like this. Werner von Braun, of course, the Nazi rocket scientist that came over in Operation Paperclip. So, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. As you guys know, I'm frustrated as hell with this entire disclosure thing because it's slow, it's clunky, it's you know, based on the mainstream media in many cases, and I think it's I don't know. Is it a disservice to ufology? Is it a disservice to discussions like this? I think the answer is maybe. Maybe. It could be maybe. But anyway, all right, let's get to Barack Obama. Everybody's favorite president, right? Like I said, if he's not your favorite president, you are a terrible, terrible person. But okay, so here we go. And I say that because, well, that's only what the mainstream media tells you, all right? And not only that, well, this is what Obama had to say. Actually, he was on the, what's that Tonight Show, Late Show? I don't know. These jerks are all the same to me because they're propagandists. They crack a funny once in a while, but they're propagandists, plain and simple. But here we go. This is what Obama said on one of these late shows with another lying dog propagandist.
Reggie, do you have a question for our guest this evening?
Oh, boy, you betcha.
Imagine if you said no. Imagine, do you know what?
No, I'm good.
Do you know what? I'm going to skip it tonight.
No, yeah, I have a question today. It goes to, let's make it for President Obama, since he's here. All this talk about dem aliens with the you know, what are they, UAFs or whatever they call them, you know, all the footage and everyone talking about it. It's like, what is your, like, I know that doesn't necessarily mean aliens, it is just a UAF, but I was wondering if you have a theory about that.
Well, when it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you on air.
But you'll tell us off air? Great.
You know, no, look. The truth is that when I came into office, I asked, right? I was like, all right, you know, is there the lab somewhere where we're keeping the alien specimens in spaceship? You know, they did a little bit of research, and the answer was no. But what is true?
Okay, right? You see, like Obama doesn't even have to do anything but say UFO, and everybody goes, like it's the funniest thing they've ever heard, right? It's not. Come on, like really, like I hate this laugh track type of, the laugh light comes on TV. Come on, really? So anyway, Obama says when he got into office, he asked where the lab was, a secret lab with the little green men, right? And they did a little research because, of course, nobody in the government knows, which seems bizarre. And then they got back to him and said, nah. And then everybody laughed again. Right? Laugh tracks. The laugh light comes on. Right? Yeah, no. This is the type of thing that gets under my skin. Okay, fine. Let's laugh with Barack Obama some more, because you can't laugh at him. That's not allowed.
And I'm actually being serious here. Is that there's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern. And so, I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is. But I have nothing to report to you today.
It's okay.
Unless, that. See, here's the question. Reggie might secretly be an alien, right? You remember in Men in Black? And so when he asks all these questions, he's deflecting. Think about it.
You are not the first person to have this thought.
Do we know what he looks like behind those glasses? Right? I mean, his eyes might blink in the wrong direction. So that's a question that everybody can think about.
Reggie, is that correct?
100%.
It's absolutely correct. Now, when we come back.
All right. So right. The laugh light turns on. Oh, it's so funny. Come on. Let's just be real here. Literally nothing they said was funny, right? These are just not even run-of-the-mill jokes. They're just, let's laugh because Obama's talking. And come on. Really? So it was the band leader of whatever that late night propaganda show is, and they were talking about, dem aliens. I'm sorry, Barack Obama, but I have a question for you. What about dem aliens? And then, there was your response. Like I said, it's interesting that we have this. All right, this is the mainstream take on this. This is, and notice, I think it's critical to point out that every time Obama mentioned aliens or UFOs, everybody just laughed. Like that was the punchline. Well, these things are in the sky and, UFOs. Right? That's what happened. Right there. You heard it. I can play it again if you want a bad taste in your mouth. But this is what the mainstream media is doing. So we still talking about this like it matters? Are we ridiculing this? What is this all about? That's what I want to know. But okay. And as you guys know me, I kind of don't care. I kind of don't care what the mainstream media tries to tell us. I don't care. Because, like I said, like I've always said, if you follow them, you understand that the things they do and the things they say are for a very specific purpose. All right? We can't just forget about the last 6 years of just insane media blitz. All right? We can't forget about it. And so suddenly we're expected to believe that now it's an honest effort to kind of get information out. They're trying to educate us. They're trying to be good to us. They're trying to, do all the other things that, that they should have been doing all along. No, of course not. It's like suddenly after 70 years in Roswell and the UFO crash in New Mexico in 1947, apparently, 70 years later, we're supposed to believe the government just changed its mind and now it wants to tell us the truth about this stuff. Come on now. Come on. That doesn't make any sense, does it? And, there's the advocates. And I understand, right? There's people that are like super invested in this and they spend a ton of time. I have too. But I'm not so foolish as to believe that suddenly the government is suddenly changing their mind about transparency about UFOs. Right? Come on. Let's be real here, people. But okay. Anyway. as we continue talking about this, the reason we're discussing this tonight, as you know, this is Troubled Minds. Again, I'm Michael Strange. We talk about UFOs all the damn time on this show. All the time. It's probably half the show at this point. And not just because, well, UFOs are probably an important thing to get to the bottom of, if they exist, right? Depending on who you ask. I'm saying that just because I don't know what you believe. If you don't believe in UFOs, that's fine. If you do, that's fine. Again, agnostic here with the, it doesn't matter. You can be non-denominational. You could even be undecided. It doesn't matter. We're not taking sides here. We're having a conversation. All right. And so do you think it matters that the mainstream media is kind of pulling out all the stops to talk about UFOs now when, I don't know, maybe I'll do a deep dive tomorrow or the next day and kind of see what they might be trying to cover up, because I have a suspicion that maybe they are. Maybe they're trying to cover something up that they don't want us to know is about to go down. And I say that, in the most loving way. A day after tax day. Government. Yeah. I'm just saying. Robert on Facebook says, I really don't think all this mainstream media coverage is working if its job is to distract from something else. I think for most people, this is nothing new enough to get all worked up about, which is us, right? So for us, we think about UFOs a lot on this show. You guys in the chat out there, DLive, Facebook, YouTube, the folks listening on Fringe FM, people listening on archives later, wherever you get the show, it ends up all over the podcast world. But, we are interested in these things. We talk about these things. But, for the rest of this, like I said, is this just one big punchline? Is the whole thing a joke now? Like you say little green men and everybody just laughs with the laugh light comes on for Obama, and then everybody just giggles when he says UFO. You know what I mean? Like it's not funny. It's certainly not funny to me. Like I said, but I've spent a ton of time talking about this stuff. It's insulting to me, actually. But whatever. They don't, just like I don't care what they think, they don't care what I think, and we're allowed to roll it that way. So anyway, I don't know what's going on with the internet. As far as I'm aware, the YouTube is still down. I don't know. Feedback out there. YouTube is apparently down. Like I said, I'm not a doom preacher, so I'm not going to say the internet is over. We broke the internet, fam. I'm not going to say that. I may wink and suggest it, but I'm not going to claim that's the case. But, what's going on? Is YouTube broken? Is Facebook broken? What's up in the chat? DLive, what's up? Can you guys hear me on Fringe FM? Is anybody out there listening? I don't know. I don't even know. I could be talking to myself, but that makes it even a little more nuts, right? Because, well, it means I'm a little more crazy than I thought I was. Yeehaw. Anyway. We're coming up to another break here, which we're going to take in just a second, but we are still taking your phone calls. Apparently everything's fixed. Apparently YouTube is having problems, says 40s. We got Fred says it's up. Tam Bam says my YouTube is perfect. I have no idea. Richard says they're setting us up for a fake alien invasion. Maybe. In any case, we're still talking about this. We're still thinking about this. Again, this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Taking your phone calls, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Give us a call. What do you think about all this UFO stuff? Do you think it's a bunch of BS? Do you think we should care? Or should we just keep calm and ramble on? Don't go anywhere. More UFOs after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're talking about UFOs tonight. If you hadn't caught on, the mainstream media is cuckoo for UFOs. Well, we talk about UFOs all the time, so I'm a little less impressed. What about you? We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and DLive, though I'm told there's all kinds of problems out there. And we're also broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. If you want to be part of the show tonight, taking your phone calls at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Get your ass in here. Let's talk UFOs. What do you believe is going on with this? And again, should we suddenly start to care or change our minds because the mainstream media is talking about this? I happen to think, nah, no thanks. Because we talk about this all the time, we have our own opinion. We don't have to wait for some crappy television show to tell us what to think, right? We have our own opinion. That's that. All right, let's go to Joe in Florida. Thanks for testing the phone lines. I appreciate it, my friend. Let's see if everything works. Testing 1, 2. Joe from Florida. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you, my man?
Not too bad. I mean, it's figured you'd be on the UFO thing. It was this morning. I had a day off and went to have breakfast with my mom, and we're at this little cafe, just eating, and we're watching the news. And she tells me, she goes, "Have you seen that on the news?" And I'm like, "Mom, that's old news. That's old news, and those videos are years old." And she goes, "Well, what do you think they're doing?" And, you try explaining to a 74-year-old woman what a PSYOP is or, some kind of a distraction. And then she asked the question. She's like, "Well, do you think that there's something else?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, numerically, whatever we believe listening here, there's definitely something else." The fact that those things are on video and being peddled, it's like you said, I think most of us probably agree, some kind of distraction. It is kind of odd that Obama and everybody laughs, and that's the thing. Again, they're measuring, I guess, response to see how much they can get away with. So just like, Jeffrey Epstein or all these other things that pop into the news like a blip, and they should be news, and they should be news that gets maybe a stronger reaction, but it just feeds the cycle for whatever reason and keeps on going. What do I think? Well, I look around the world, I see a lot of dictators, and I see a lot of things flaring up.
Exactly.
And you start to wonder if, you start to wonder if that's going to be the next excuse, like we all kind of believe in the chat, if that's going to be an excuse to maybe not keep us in our house, but maybe to fund black budgets, maybe to fund private, private rocket ventures like, Tesla here and the rockets and Blue Origins and all of that. Now they'll have an excuse. They'll say, look at these things that are flying around, and we need to spend this money, and we need to do these things. And, that's my take on it. Well, without losing sleep over it. But if these things have been here since the beginning, I would think if they were going to cause us harm, they would have done it by now. So, and the government knows that. So they're probably just using it as another excuse to further the government's needs or however they want to push the people.
Yeah, so propaganda, as always.
Kind of sense.
Yeah, propaganda. So there's a whole bunch of things going on, right, that I think I'm going to just throw some ideas out there of, let's take it to the angle that we might be distracted from some things. Well, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because I know it's very polarizing and it's a horrible situation, but let's think about Gaza and Israel, right? Like that's been just off the chain for several weeks now, and it just seems to be growing and growing and growing. People out there dying like crazy. I don't care whose side you take. People dying is terrible, right? And so it is becoming more and more obvious that it's an uncontrollable situation. But recall, I'm not going to say it. But anyway, there's one. Here's another one. Bill Gates. All right, Bill Gates for 30 years has got nothing but positive press coverage, right? He was a benevolent billionaire. This guy he's trying to save the world with the vaccines, and he's trying to save the world with, the malaria and all the things. And he's doing all the good stuff in the world, right? And I used to think that maybe Bill Gates, maybe it was possible to be a billionaire and not be a psycho. All right. I thought it was possible. I thought maybe Bill Gates was that guy. But now look, the media is crumbling around him, and so he's getting divorced, and they're saying like Epstein connections. He's been doing all kinds of insidious crap with just terrible things that you would expect of a billionaire, okay, of the psychopaths. So you see, there's just thrown out a couple things that are happening in the last several days, several weeks, that these narratives are hard to cover. They're hard to grab the bull by the horns and change those narratives, right? So, well, what about UFOs? Doesn't that change those narratives pretty well? What do you think?
Well, for sure. I mean, what else are they doing? They're trying to pass these huge spending bills, and basically to pass a spending bill, they might give every citizen a little bit of money, but the majority of that money travels the world and ends up in black projects. It gets skimmed, laundered, paid back to politicians, or put into a project. Also, very quietly, I've noticed, I mean, there was an uproar with Russia and China testing hypersonic weapons, and little by little, I've been reading in some articles that some of the Navy ships, I forget which one, that stealth boat, and some of the newer ships are going to be retrofitted with hypersonic weapons. Mach 13, whatever the heck it is, weapons that, should match whatever Russia and China has. So there's definitely some card shuffling propaganda going on. Israel's been going on forever, like you said. That's a whole other topic in another subject for political arena. But I don't think UFOs are going to be enough to distract from that, unless one of them lands in the middle of Jerusalem, or they claim it. But it's a good example. It's an example nonetheless. It's an example that we all see. Yes, we're all familiar with that. But I just don't know. It's confusing. It's Trump on the bandwagon, and it's confusing for those of us that have always had this steady belief that there's something out there. And maybe not that far out there. The thing that I do find curious is that they are seeing a lot of them go into the ocean, and we all know that are listening that we know about space more than what we know about the bottom of the ocean. So that's the other thing. I know I've mentioned my sighting. I had a couple of sightings, but the one that sticks out the most was the one probably about 9 years ago in South Florida. I was camping, and I saw it was a triangle. It was the chevron. It wasn't take that back. It wasn't the triangle. It was a V chevron, all in black, and it buzzed right over us. You couldn't even hear it. And it looked like it was there, and like it wasn't. It was like half cloaked in black. And my first thought was, I yelled UFO, but my thought after seeing it was, that's some kind of a drone that we have that's probably not piloted. And it didn't look like it had any propulsion system. I mean, it flew like a plane. It was just in a straight line. But it could have been one of those ARVs or alien reproduction vehicles or something that maybe we managed to put together. And it looked like it created its own cloak. It was wild. That's what I saw. And maybe what those military people are seeing could be our own technology. Who knows?
Well, so some other interesting information about that is that Ryan Graves was another fighter pilot that actually encountered these UFOs on the East Coast, out there in the Atlantic. And he said, as part of this 60-minute segment, which is critically important to point out, like I said, probably the most important thing that nobody's talking about, which is bizarre, that we'd rather laugh every time Obama says UFOs. He's so funny. He's so funny. But Ryan Graves, a fighter pilot that was on the East Coast, he said they saw UFOs every day for a couple years. every day for a couple years. So don't you think this is something huge? Huge. Even if it's an adversarial spy program, even if it's our own technology. He said every day for a couple years. What the hell is that about?
Maybe they're getting off the planet. Maybe they're taking all the dolphins, saying goodbye and thanks for all the fish, and they're all leaving. But I don't know. I tend to believe more and more, though, that there's something on the moon and something underwater. Whether you want to call them the fallen angels, whatever they are, has been here. You know, a small encampment or an outpost, and they're able to go from the moon, and they're able to go under the water. And, you know, how true it is when there's tensions, when tensions rise, supposedly sightings rise. You know, how true that is, I don't know, but you read about it. You know, nuclear tests, these things show up. Big events, these things show up. World War II, these things show up. You know, who knows if they're not leaving? They're probably saying, hey, those people, those surface dwellers are screwing things up again, so we need to get the heck out. You know, who knows? My buddy's dad was an Air Force pilot, a couple of pilots. When you tell them, have you seen anything? The canned standard answer that I always used to get from my buddy's dad was, I didn't see anything not reportable. So basically, you know, if you don't know what it is, you didn't say nothing.
Exactly, right? So
going on again, you know, we just come back. We all come back full circle. I think my guess is just as good as anybody else's here. Maybe Tim has a better guess. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think it's Chinese or Russians. Even though they might have some technology, and they have something built. I think we have something built that's, you know, in limited production. But maybe to have something that's small, because some of these things are small, some of these things are huge. I don't know. Just totally mind-blowing until one of them lands.
Exactly, right? Is that literally what we're waiting for? The proverbial UFO on the White House lawn. You think they wouldn't shoot that sucker down in a blink of an eye? Come on. Let's be
real. I don't think they would, because if they know they exist, let's say Eisenhower was I think they say Eisenhower met with some aliens. If they know they're out there, I don't think they're going to shoot it down. That would be suicide for us. That would be absolute suicide for many reasons. If we shot one down, that would prove everybody else's point. Why would we go deal with these monkeys? If we shot one down, we might get the wrath of hell and end up being, you know, Independence Day, except we lose. So why would we do that? That seems foolish. If we have one from Roswell, that's probably the best we're going to get.
I agree with you. Like a sane person would expect that, right? Like you don't want to, you know, as they said in what was it, Independence Day, Los Angelinos, don't fire on enemy spacecraft. You might spark an interstellar war, right? Like exactly the same thing. But I mean, do you think that the people that are like pulling triggers at the White House are going to have the restraint to not shoot at a UFO? I don't know, man. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good thing to think about. So I guess maybe we'll find out. But let's cross our fingers.
You know, the Capitol Police were unarmed. You know, so I don't know. Maybe just throw some rocks. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate the call, man. Anything else while we got you on tonight?
No, it's all right. No, that's it, man. I'm glad you're talking about it. I got to go to work tomorrow. Hopefully I don't get abducted tonight. If I do, I hope they don't bring me back for a while. I can use a vacation. That's about it. I'm interested. You know, let's get some more phone calls and see what everybody else thinks. Some people have some pretty good takes.
Amen, brother.
I can't go any deeper with it. My mind just hits a roadblock. Why are they doing this? We know about it. We know they exist. Why is the government doing it? Why is the media doing it? I just hit a roadblock. So just figured I'd start you off because nobody's calling in.
I appreciate it, my friend. That's Joe from Florida. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. God bless you and the family. And there you go. Phone lines work. Thank you, Joe, for kicking us off tonight. I know it's been a little bit weird with the internet YouTube outage. Apparently, YouTube is out. Like I said, I'm guessing there's some sort of a Amazon web server thing down, or maybe some, when one thing goes down, many things go down. I don't know. I don't know what to think other than I'm just going to keep calm and ramble on. Like I said, it's kind of what we do. This is a talk show after all. So anyway, we now know the phones work thanks to Joe. Thanks, Joe from Florida. If you guys want to be part of the show, what is your take on this? Do you think that we should care what the mainstream media says about UFOs? Number one is the question. Number two, the next question is, do you think they're trying to distract us from something else? With stupid things like Obama saying, little green men. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Obama said little green men. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Like it's call me a cynical jerk, and that's fine. I've been called worse. But I'm not amused. I'm not amused by Obama saying UFOs and everybody laughing to a laugh track or the laugh sign that pops on these late night talk shows. I'm not amused. I'm not impressed. Like he didn't say anything other than he said basically what Bill Clinton said. You remember that? Bill Clinton said that he supposedly, as soon as he was elected president, he went back and he asked about Roswell, right? He asked about Roswell, and they told him, no, it ain't a thing. Right? The Roswell UFO, the alien crash. And he said, they told him no. The intelligence community or whatever, whoever he asked, they said no. And now Obama says a very similar story, interestingly, pretty much mirrored exactly what Bill Clinton said, that when, Obama was elected president, he went in, he asked about UFOs. And they did some research and got back to him. And they said, nah. Actually, let's just play the clip. I think it's more funny to hear them laugh at him than it is to hear me make fun of it. Here we go. Obama, our favorite president, weighed in on UFOs.
Reggie, do you have a question for our guest this evening?
Oh boy, you betcha.
Imagine if you said no. Imagine like, do you know what?
No, I'm good.
Do you know what? I'm gonna skip it tonight.
No, I have a question today. It goes to. Let's make it for President Obama, since he's here. All this talk about dem aliens with the what are they, UAFs or whatever they call them? All the footage and everyone talking about it. It's like, what is your I know that doesn't necessarily mean aliens. It is just a UAF. But I was wondering if you have a theory about that.
Well. When it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you on air.
But you'll tell us off air? Great.
No, look. The truth is that when I came into office, I asked, right? I was like, all right, is there the lab somewhere where we're keeping the alien specimens in spaceship? They did a little bit of research, and the answer was no. But what is true?
Okay, you see? So he says, very much like Bill Clinton said. I think Bill Clinton's story was a little more, he waited till the, 50th or 60th anniversary of Roswell or something was coming up, and he finally decided to ask the question. And then they did the same thing. They did a little bit of research in the government, and they got back to Bill Clinton, and they said, nah, there's no aliens. So there we go, right? Very interestingly similar story, but we get these things kind of popping out at the last second in weird ways, and everybody has to laugh because Obama said aliens. Obama said UFO, right? Again, like I said, this is not... whatever. You know how annoyed I get with this stuff anyway. We're still taking your phone calls. We got one coming in right now. I appreciate it. 702-957-1037. Got a couple minutes left. We have time for you. And let's do it. Let's go to, I believe this is Rohan. Rohan in the UK. How you doing, my friend? Welcome to the show.
So, brother, I'm all right. How are you? You good?
Yes. Here you're great, man. Go right ahead.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll just going out. There's a bit of a delay. Yeah, bottom man. It makes me cringe. I think my cringe gland's going to pop. I hear these, oh man, Obama, and that James Corbyn or whoever it is, I hate him. He's such a shameless virtue signaler. But anyway, yeah. No, it's all distraction. And see how they laugh like that. Look at him. It's just so childish. I'm bored of it, Mike. Do you know what I mean? I want to have a real discussion about this stuff. You know, and this guy, Obama, is a joke. The guy's a joke. Look at them. They're like children. They make me laugh. I can't believe they're leaders, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's so staged. Just do a map on it. It's all
staged.
so staged. Everything.
You're right.
It's like a centuries-long Shakespeare performance.
You're totally right, and that's again, that's my gripe with all of this. It's all so staged. So not just the media kind of tipping with each other. Like I said, so again, like I'm not trying to start a political feud here, and I don't want that. But do you think they would have time from saying Donald Trump was terrible to talk about UFOs? Because it seems like they really didn't have time for that, right? They didn't have time for that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, because from this perspective, from looking this side of the pond, I can't believe, I thought they was going to give up with that, you know, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. I thought after a year of that, they're going to finally give up, and they did it all the way through.
All the way through.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking, that's like, you know, and I'm like, I've heard at least a dozen times treason. I've heard it. I've heard people say treasonous things. Do you know what I'm saying? And everyone just slides it, and it's like it makes the whole thing look like a total joke to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Everything, all of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm bypassing it all. I mean, I keep in touch with the news, see what's going on, but I don't give it a pinch of salt, man. I get 2 handfuls. You know, it's a joke. It's a joke,
with
man.
you.
That's why we have to do this, because it's up to us. It's up to us, man. We've got to take charge. We've got to be the politicians from now on.
It seems
these
like
guys are they're in the death throes, in my opinion. It might take 5 years, but they're all in death throes. They're all just dead corpses twitching, for what I can see. The world's changing. The world's changed, and we're in charge of deciding what's going to happen with it. And no matter how much try and scaremonger people, we're not going to make that Mad Max world. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. That's what's supposed to happen. So Rohan, as you know, we're up against a break here. If you want to hang tight, I'll put you on hold, or if you want to call back after for the top of the third hour, love to have you back on. But I'm gonna. So you decide, and I'll either mute you or cut you. You decide.
Okay. Cheers.
Do you want to wait? You tell me.
No, I'll call you back in a sec.
Okay. I'll catch you in just a sec. Again, that's Rohan from the United Kingdom. Thanks for the call. So now this is the thing, right? As we finish up the show, this is a couple hours on Fringe FM, so we're done on Fringe. If you're enjoying this show, stay tuned after this for, I think there's an archive of Joe Roop Lighting the Void coming up next. If you enjoyed this conversation and like Troubled Minds, we're live for a third hour. We do it on YouTube, DLive, and Facebook, and we're going to keep on trucking, and we're going to keep on talking about this stuff. And you know why? Because nobody actually discusses this stuff in an honest manner, in my opinion. It's just not an honest thing. And, like I said, the laugh tracks and the laugh lights and the propagandists and the softball questions and the flat out lying dog media. How are we supposed to take any of this seriously when we have the same sources that were lying to us yesterday, and now we're supposed to believe they're telling us the truth today? I have a hard time with that. If I'm lying to you yesterday, I expect you to be pissed off and not come back. You know why? Because, well, there's such a thing as an honest conversation, and I hope that that's what we do here. Again, I don't know the answers. I wish I did, but I don't. And so we get together and we talk about it, discuss it with you, and try and get to the bottom of this. Anyway, at the end of my ramble here, my rant, you've been listening to Troubled Minds. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening with us. Thanks for being part of this. Again, stay tuned on Fringe for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. And we'll be 1 more hour of Troubled Minds on DLive, YouTube, and Facebook. Thanks again. Be sure, be strong, be true. From our Troubled Minds to yours, thanks for listening. Have a great night. All right, eating some nachos in between, trying to double duty, right? Dinner and the radio show. What's up? All right, so let's see. It's part of the discussion. Okay, so let's talk about it. So what's up? NS says, by the way, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're talking about UFOs tonight. We are talking about why the mainstream media has suddenly pivoted to UFOs, and it's all over. It's all over the damn internet, right? I had some links to share, which I didn't do yet, but it's all over the place. Here you go. Here's MSN.com. I'm gonna link these things in, and you guys can follow up on me as usual and see if I'm making this crap up. Because guess what? I'm not. It's all over the damn mainstream media, and you know it is. So here we go. I'm going to just throw these out there as some proof to the doubters and the haters. But here it is. Throwing it out there, and there's a whole lot of this, right? We got the Daily Mail, we got MSN, we got all kinds of things. And so again, right, with Gaza happening, with this Bill Gates information pouring out about what he's just a dirty psychopath like all the rest of the billionaires. So, you know, what is it? Is this a pivot to change narratives in the mainstream media, right? An information operation, as they call it, which we did a whole show on that before. And we had clips playing of an information operation professional, as they're called. And so they actually claim that they change narratives on purpose, right? That they do whatever they can to move news cycles to sway popular opinion. And so I have a very hard time believing that, Chris Cuomo gives a shit about UFOs. I really do. So who told him to put the UFOs on there? Right? Like who actually described to him, allowed him to break off of his actual narratives, his propaganda narratives for a second to discuss this stuff. And I'll play it again. Yeah. I mean, again, I'd rather hear from you guys. But this is what's going on. And like I said, this UFO stuff, to me, it's serious. It's serious enough to talk about it, clearly, because I've talked about it for a long time, right? Or else I wouldn't be talking about it. I think it's serious, all right? Serious enough to have an actual honest discussion about it. Not this actual, laugh at Obama because he says little green men, I just don't think that's funny. It's just not. So anyway, we're still taking your phone calls, doing our thing, discussing UFOs and all the rest of this. So if you want to be part of the show, phone number's up, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Get your ass in here, and we'll put you on the show. Thank you, Rohan and Joe, for the calls tonight. We need more. Should we be suspicious of a mainstream media pivoting to UFOs? And what about the actual claims of these actual fighter pilots that saw these UFOs? I think that's part of the problem here. That's part of the issue, is that there are two things that are going on. One, do we trust the mainstream media by covering this? And two, do we how much do we take as true and a fact of what these fighter pilots are saying? Crazy stuff. So I'm linking some things here and where I got some of this information from, and the takes are all over the damn place, right? So Jason Colavito on Twitter, and he's actually kind of a hater. He says the UFOs are all fake. It's a media concoction and all this stuff. He's just kind of a hater, right? He's a very cynical person, in my opinion. But let's go look at his tweet. He says this, taken at face value, Obama only appears to be offering his personal take on the recent UFO stories and Navy videos circulating in the news. But the media are already playing this as official confirmation without asking a single follow-up question. And I can't say I disagree with this guy. Again, Jason Colavito, like I said, he's basically like a staunch skeptic. He thinks it's all bullshit. He does. It's just who he is, right? He's written books about it and all kinds of stuff. And he says it's all manufactured from some mythologies of the past, and it's all fake. There's no such thing as a UFO in this guy's opinion. Okay, fine. I disagree with him there, but I agree with him on this right here. The media are already playing this as official confirmation without asking a single follow-up question to Obama, right? So notably, Obama said, well, we didn't know their trajectories. Let's play part 2 of that, and then we'll finish up. Again, like I said, I'd rather hear from you guys, but this is what Obama said. Now listen, no follow-up questions to this, because of course you can't do that, because, you're supposed to give softballs to Obama, right? So here's a good question you could have asked him after this.
And I'm actually being serious here, is that there's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern. And so, I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is. But I have nothing to report to you today.
It's okay.
unless that. See, here's the question: Reggie might secretly be an alien, right? You remember in Men in Black, and so when he asks all these questions, he's deflecting. Think about it.
You are not the first person to have this thought.
Do we know what he looks like behind those glasses? Right? I mean, his eyes might blink in the wrong direction. So that's a question that everybody can think about.
Reggie, is that correct?
100%.
It's absolutely correct. Now, when we come back.
Yeah. You see? Funny, right? This is all so funny. It's not funny at all to me. It's just like, come on, people, really? Anyway, I've got more clips. I can circle back and play some of the stuff. I know we were having internet troubles when we played the Cuomo stuff. And Chris Cuomo, that jerk, the other jerk, right? But again, I'd rather hear from you. What do you guys think about this? Should we be suspicious of the mainstream media suddenly pivoting to UFOs? It's definitely the ultimate shiny object, right? It's definitely like one of those things where it gets a ton of clickbait, it gets a ton of action, it gets a ton of, at least eyeballs on it, at least in the periphery where people are like, ah, ha, ha, UFOs, right? Like most people have a tiny interest in it, at least, right? So, it does get a lot of clicks. Like they say, in the old days, the two things that built the internet were UFOs and boobs, right? That's what they said. Porn and UFOs built the internet. But is that true? Well, I don't know. And if that's the case, and so many people are interested in UFOs, then why exactly are we making fun of it here? I think that's the thing. Let's see. Robert in the Discord says, is there a spot to post potential lousy UFO pics? Drop it right in, dude. Drop it right on in. Drop it right on in. Okay, so anyway, looking to hear from you guys. 702-957-1037. If you're going to call, now's the time. We got no radio restrictions, no time limits, no anything. We're just going to talk about this stuff. And let's see. Let's read some chat. Let's catch up on chat. Let's see. What do we got? Timothy says, Tinfoil Timothy, all part of the plan, so to speak. I've been covering it. I can't help but laugh. Yeah, it seems like it, right? It's that's why I'm distrustful of the mainstream media, because they're liars. They've always been liars. They time things to keep you off of what's important. And like I said, there's some interesting things happening, right? The whole Gaza thing, the Israel thing. Bill Gates is finally being dragged through the mud in the press. Just off the top of my head, just two things, right? Two things that are very, very contentious, right? Two things that they might want to disappear from news cycles. And if they could wash it out with UFOs, maybe, right? Maybe. Thomas, what's up on Facebook, says, I think it's a distraction from whatever they're doing now. And there you go. Tam says this, the problem here is the majority of people believe only what the news people say. So all this stuff is brand new information for most people. So maybe they're releasing the info slowly to the public, or you're 100% right, Mike, they're decoying us. And I think you're right. And part of the problem with that is that like I said, you have two things happening, and that there's a lot of people that are paying attention to UFOs now that maybe not have, but I don't know. So that might be a good thing, but it might not be, especially if they're going to turn and use it against us. What else? Let's see. What else? Let's see. All right, Tim's going to call in a minute. Cool, sweet, appreciate that. Okay, let's see. What else do we got? Jason on YouTube says, making fun of it would make it the new norm for our new world order. Elbow cough. Elbow cough. What's up? Scorpio says, comedy cover-up. Yeah. That could be, right? What's up, Sonny Zacatecas? I see you there. What's up, buddy? Who else? NS says, man, he really doesn't sound nearly as smart without writers, Mike. Yeah, right? Teleprompters? Yeah, right? Let's see. What else do we got? We got NS. He's trying to downplay it like the Arizona governor did with the Phoenix Lights. Yeah, exactly. They're making a joke of it, right? They're making a joke of it. I don't know. And like I said, I don't even know. I don't even know if I believe in aliens, to be perfectly honest, or at least in what capacity, right? Surely they're out there, but are they here? I don't know. Again, I'm not the answers guy. I'm just not that guy. But you decide. Let's see. Bailey says, its primary owner is NBC, but it was a merger from Microsoft, so surely he has stock in excess somewhere of that thing, right? NS says, I think MSNBC is owned by NBC Universal now, but I don't know. I don't care. I don't trust any of them. And I agree. That's part of the whole point, right? What's up? We got 40s. Let's see. What else do we got? Yeah, it's not like this is not funny to me. It's not funny when the mainstream media is like, oh, ha, ha, ha. You know, let's take something decently seriously and make jokes out of these things, you know. Axel, what's up, says, inverse could be true. They're pushing now because so much else going on. That's exactly what I was saying, right? Bill Gates and Gaza, right? Two very big things that are happening right now. Let's see. All right. So anyway, let's play just a little bit of these Cuomo clips. Let me eat some nachos as we wait for some phone calls. And you know, like I said, dinner and a radio show at the same time. Well, you try and do it. It's definitely a challenging aspect without like making nasty mouth sounds in the mic. But here we go. What's up, Kelly? What's up, Kelly? What's up, Axel? Thanks for showing up, guys. Kelly says it's a warning. The ones called the Anunnaki are returning. Well, there we go. There we go. Maybe, right? Maybe. But here we go. This is when we were having internet issues earlier. Cuomo, the Chris Cuomo show. Yep, that asshole. I can say it now since we're off the air. Chris Cuomo's an asshole. What's up, Chris Cuomo? Here we go. This is what he said. He had Ryan Cahill and Chris Mellon on his show. Action.
Next month, Congress is expecting a report from the Director of National Intelligence and other agencies on UFOs or UAPs. And that's the government term for them. It stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. Why? Well, a retired U.S. Navy pilot came forward to say he and his crew witnessed an unidentified flying object on the coast of the Atlantic several times. And he's not the only one. Joining us now, someone who has personally witnessed sightings, retired Navy Chief Master at Arms Sean Cahill, joined by Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. Thank you both. Appreciate you for joining me.
Good evening, Chris.
Pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so let's dispense with the obvious here. Chris, people are going to eye roll and say, boy, was Cuomo light on what to talk about tonight. Why is this worth discussion?
Because we have recurring violations of U.S. airspace by unidentified vehicles that are very capable, in some cases more capable than anything in our own inventory. This has been going on for years. The truth is just emerging. We've had a massive intelligence failure, and we now have a threat, an unknown threat that we need to figure out.
So, Sean, it's not that you're worried about something out of a movie coming to get you. It's about the threat right here on Earth and how it's being motivated without our knowledge and ability to counter.
Oops, caught me chewing. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to play this next one. Let me finish this.
That's correct, Chris. In 2004, I was the Chief Master at Arms on board the USS Princeton, and the technology that we witnessed with the Tic Tac was something that we would not have been able to defend our forces against at the time.
Help me understand that. As the uninitiated, what does that mean to us?
Well, sir, that means that what we saw in the Tic Tac and what Mr. Luis Elizondo describes as the 5 observables indicate a technology that outstrips our arsenal by at least 100 to 1,000 years at the moment.
100 to 1,000. So, meaning like what kind of technology was at play that you were able to identify it but know that you can't match it?
Well, first of all, the aircraft had 0 control surfaces. It had no means of propulsion that we could detect. It moved at hypersonic velocities, and it preceded the pilots to their cap point. So it seemed to have some knowledge of where the pilots were headed ahead of time, and we don't possess those abilities to do that in our arsenal at the moment.
What does that sound like to you, Chris Mellon?
Well, we clearly are vulnerable, and this has been going on for too long. Finally, our Congress is learning of this situation. They're beginning to react. So we've got a lot of catch up here, but it is very concerning. It's not an imminent crisis or imminent threat. There's been no hostility, but there's a lot of activity, and it's increasingly bold. In some instances, recently we've had these things swarming around warships off the coast of California, swarming around strategic missile defense bases in Guam, and other things. So with all the tensions in the world and China and the rest, with the attack on the Saudi oil facilities by drones and so forth, it's something we need to take seriously.
It's something we need to take seriously, right? Interesting it brings up the Saudis there. But okay, so like I said, Axel said this, and he's right. He very much could be right here. That maybe they're pushing this now because there's so many other things going on in the world they kind of want to put a lid on, right? Maybe it's not one particular thing. Maybe it's all these other things, right? Anybody know what's up with their gas prices? Anybody else get destroyed in taxes? Anybody else kind of tired of the lying dog media that's kind of giving softball questions to the blue guys and not the red guys? Is anybody just tired of like all of this? And this is why we do this. This is why we discuss these things kind of outside of that paradigm. I don't care. Vote for whoever you want. Don't vote. I don't care. I don't care. However, it's grotesque to pretend that the media coverage of one thing and another thing is done fairly and equally. So just there you go. So that's the question tonight. Let's go to Tim in Georgia. Tinfoil Timothy, what's up, my friend? You're on Trouble Wines with Mike. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? Good evening.
Hey, good evening, sir. Good evening. What is going on in this world, my man? What the hell is all this about?
Well, I got one on camera on video Sunday. We were watching I was waiting for the Wallop Island, Virginia rocket launch, which had been postponed a bunch of times over a 2-week period, and finally they kept delaying Sunday until it got dark. So I finally gave it up, but before I did, at first I thought it was a plane, and then I realized, no, that's not a plane, it's another UFO. But it's not that uncommon here, with a bombing range close by, surrounded by military bases, and they're pretty common sights. I mean, over the years, I've seen enough of them. There's really 3 main types that you'll see, and I can tell you it's us. And what you got is a major fixing expedition by the powers that be. Now, here's where it gets complicated, okay? President Trump last year gave an executive order for this, right? Now, I want you to understand that executive order is gone. It does not exist anymore, for all intents and purposes. If you'll read the article released Monday, it says that the Senate Select Intelligence Committee next month will do the debriefing, okay? Now, the one thing President Trump did not do either on the executive order, he did not order Congress to convene and perform an act of Congress to release the presidential library tapes, which would have all the relevant information from the administration and previous administrations on UFOs, who it is, who's behind it, and what the deal is, secret space program, the Nazis, the whole 9 yards. Okay? Now, that's just a fact. It takes an act of Congress to get what everybody wants to know. So you're only going to get the picture that they want to paint right now. And it's unfortunate because there's good people bucking the system, like the Space Force Lieutenant Colonel that was replaced by General Whitting in the Air Force there. He should not have replaced that Lieutenant Colonel. Now, Monday, Newsweek released an exclusive article about the Pentagon's secret army, okay, that gets $900 million plus a year black budget. Now, I covered this early Monday before a lot of people got wind of it, and I've been trying to tell people for a long time that you won't recognize these people. They'll dress up as old people a lot of times, and it's really a 25-year-old guy that's a combat veteran. But in reality, to you, it looks like it's a 70-year-old man moping around your Sam's Club, and it's really not. Now, they actually show proof of this in some of the articles I posted links to on my show. Been telling people this stuff for years, man. Look, it's a long time ago at the Pentagon, they decided because of information warfare in the 21st century, the world we're living in, and a lot of catastrophes that happened that got our people killed, to lower the signature of our forces. It's called signature reduction in forces. So a lot of them are walking around with long hair. They look like hippies, but they're in very good shape. And trust me, some of these guys aren't hippies. When you go to a rally, these people are at these rallies. When you go to a UFO event for SC5 or any of that, you go to Contact in the Desert, these people are there. They're everywhere. And that's just a fact of life. So at the same time, that information's coming out. You also have another new release today on directed energy weapons, okay? That's very important, press release on that. I covered some of that. I've been keeping up with that the last couple of weeks real hardcore because the timing of it is coinciding exactly with the timing of the disclosure process by this Senate Select Intelligence Committee. Now, I posted a chart. It was I think it was yesterday's show, either the first or second show yesterday, a chart that has all the members of that Intelligence Committee. You will throw up once you realize, you will throw up once you realize how many people are on there that are not good people. You will say, holy shit, we're just going to get fed a line of crap. Look at who's on the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Yeah,
so
the rest of the lying dogs.
The reality is...
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. They're all liars, man.
The deck is stacked against us. Okay, from the word go on this, it's a rush to cover and make it all look good, so that the public thinks and everybody in the industry gets fed something to satisfy them, when really, oh well, the Pentagon's confirmed this stuff. I confirm them all the time. Hey man, if you're in the right area, you'll see them quite frequently, and you won't really think that much about it. A lot of people see them and it's commonplace, and they just shake their head and go, well, what was that? It was probably a plane or something.
It's true.
Now,
it's true.
As far as how come it's hard to get a picture of them, okay, because these things slow down time. That's part of the field distortion from spinning mercury pressurized at a very intense and high pressure very fast, okay? Now, they're playing with the magnetic field, and in doing so, they're slowing down time. If you've ever worked around superconducting magnets like I have, you'll understand the theory behind this and some of the weird and funny things that can happen to you and stuff that you work with when you're around intense magnetic fields. Now, I'm playing around with a few things while different stuff was running in the background. You get curious about some things in the laboratory, let me tell you. And you can't help but play with a few things. And I'll say this right here. They can do it with no problem. And so what it does is any camera, anything that's using a signal, okay, it screws with it. Trust me. It can also magnetize things if it gets too close. It can magnetize ordinary objects that normally wouldn't have a magnetic field or a plus or minus value to be magnetic. It can turn them magnetic. Hey, man, I've seen this happen. I've seen high-ranking people, Air Force people, talk about it, pull their hair out about it. Senior NCOs walking around in circles, look like somebody poured hot boiling water on their nuts. And they're all going, hey, why is this ordinary stuff magnetized? Well, after the thing came over, everything it got close to had a magnetic value to it, and it didn't matter what it was. If it was a packing crate that some equipment was sitting on, the wood had become temporarily magnetic. And it stayed that way for a while, and eventually it went away. So definitely some interesting things that go on, my friend.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that actually. So is it? Do you know if this is commonplace? This is not just one incident. This happens quite often. So these UFOs have some sort of magnetic, anomalous thing going on with them, where they magnetize things as they pass over. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and so is there a particular case you can cite for this, or is this just you've talked to somebody and it's kind of like a private story?
There's a lot of documentation on it. More and more people are getting hip to it, but I'll give you a hint. Going back to the Roswell information, they give you some clues into there about some of the materials and about how some of them were very magnetic and others had no magnetic value whatsoever. There's your sign. Also, the 100 and some FOIA publication that came out earlier this year that has a lot of the designs and drawings they release, one of those is magnetic coefficients. There's probably maybe 40 people on the planet that know what they're looking at there. And I can tell you that the one drawing interests me a lot because it's actually almost a replica of what's on the wall in a temple in India. And I've seen it once before, and that was in a German book that was on the Luftwaffe. and particularly Heinkel aircraft and Junkers. And you got to remember, Junkers was thrown out of his factory in World War II because he had Jewish heritage, and they nationalized it. And the other engineers that took it over eventually came to the United States and paperclipped, and they worked closely with Kelly Johnson and them at the Skunk Works and also at Area 51. So you have a lot of people involved there and a lot of big money involved there. You got national security involved there. You definitely see what's going on. Everybody does, and you see that there's a lot of struggles going on that we really don't know about. And 1 minute the press is on your side, the next minute the press is not on your side. You see what I'm saying? 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down. And you're watching something play out here. And notice that everybody that's ever been abducted comes back and says, this is how we ought to live. This is how they told us we ought to live. And if you look up what they're trying to tell us, it reads like the UN agenda for sustainable living, okay? About how we should power everything, about how we should do this and use the Tesla technology and all these other things. Well, that's basically what the UN agenda for sustainable living is. You know, waste not, want not type of philosophy. So I find it mighty strange that a lot of those folks that are big in the business, so to speak, push and drive a certain narrative. And it's because of these programs like the super secret army that has been officially revealed now in the press with the Newsweek exclusive. And Newsweek has more information that's going to come out. If you read that article, it's not over with. A lot more stuff's going to come out. Now ask yourself this question. With all this coming out, is it good? Because it sure seems like America's losing its hold and control over the world, doesn't it? As all this happens. So it could be that maybe to a degree, some of this needs to remain quiet simply because it was how we were maintaining an edge over our adversaries, especially since here lately they have beat us to the punch on directed energy weapons and hypersonic technologies, in both cases fielding them in their militaries 2 years before we did. And they're fixing to film a movie in space, Russia is. So Russia has beat us, the first dog in space, the first person in space, the first space station with Mir, the first satellite with Sputnik, and they're even going to film the first movie in space. So, some congressmen are saying there's huge intelligence failures. That's probably the understatement of the century. And watching the power struggle over who's going to deliver what information and how, and not how to wreck the entire thing, the country, all our allies, and everything that goes with it, it's going to be interesting to see. Talk about opening a can of worms that nobody really wanted to open up, and everybody's looking at each other going, duh, because it's all compartmentalized from one thing to the other, from one thing to the other, from one thing to the other. And so, there's people someplace somewhere going, I ain't cooperating, I ain't doing nothing, running around underground staring at the four walls, about coming unglued, with all their fruit salad about to fall off their uniform because, a lot of this stuff is unprecedented. And in their military mind, you got to put yourself in their shoes with some of these folks that have dedicated their whole lives. Got to be careful what you say around who you socialize with, especially when you're some of these people that were the technicians and the civilian folks that are working on some of these top secret projects. Loose lips, sink ships, and all that stuff is very, very true. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But so I mean, yes, all of that, right? Like you're onto a lot of things here, like you should be. I think if we pay enough attention to what the media is doing, to what the government is doing, I think you can piece this stuff together. I think the pieces are out there. But however, it's like people are just kind of eating this up hook, line, and sinker, And as you know, like loose lips sink ships, and we're talking about national security in many cases here. So we're going to get jack shit when it comes to this. Like we're not going to know. I promise you, 6 months from now, we're barely going to know anything more than we did now. I promise you. You know why? Because we're not allowed to. It's literally off the docket. It's not to be considered. They're gonna flirt with us. They're gonna toy with us. They're gonna throw out some of this thing that's redacted. That thing's redacted. You know, they're gonna have the put out the document that's got all the black lines in it, everything blacked out, and then they're gonna say, "There you go. There's your disclosure." You know, it's like feeding you scraps off the dinner table. It's like no, that's not what we want.
I posted the link to my UFO video. I took that Sunday around 8:34 or so, and I was watching due east because of that rocket launch. And I tell you what, man, it's not the first, and it won't be the last. There's been a rocket launch occurring about every 3 days. There was one, I think it was earlier today. When I was on air, it happened at like 1:30. They launched out of Cape Canaveral, putting a military satellite up that was going several thousand miles out. And it's actually to detect other satellites and detect certain types of waves. Now, I believe what its mission is, after I looked at the NRO and a couple other websites, I believe what this satellite's mission is to detect who's using the directed energy weapons on our personnel and people. That's some serious news articles that came out about that today. The White House has admitted it twice now that, yeah, it's happening. It's affected Secret Service people, CIA people, FBI people, Democrats, Republicans, right down to 2-year-old children, a military officer. So this is not a joke. It's definitely a foreign enemy, somebody with a lot of power. And even with the technologies that we have, you know, it's almost like somebody has gone rogue. And when you look at Epstein Island, when you look at what the geneticists were doing there, the DNA and RNA people, you look at their access to French Guiana and the ability to get them to launch rockets and payloads in orbit. A lot of stuff launches out of there and hardly ever makes the press in the Western Hemisphere at all because it's down in South America. And it launches out of French Guiana down there. And that place is like Fort Knox. It's protected by the Foreign Legion, you know, by like a 5,000-man contingent down there around that spaceport. And Wallop Island, Virginia launches stuff quite a bit too, you know. And then you got Vandenberg, which was renamed to Space Delta 30, Space Delta Base 30 or something like that. They've renamed all the places that launch and have to do with space have been renamed as Space Force Delta bases. That took place over the weekend. So it's no longer Vandenberg Air Force Base, it's Space Force Delta 30. So we're watching something unprecedented. We're watching the shift of the 21st century come into play where, like right out of Robert Heinlein's, you know, worst nightmare, some of his best science fiction, if you want to look at it that way, the future is definitely going to be a brave new world for our kids and grandkids and the future generations to come that survive this great reset. And it all has to do with the space race, folks. There's people so invested in this and so much more money going into it and so many people running around. China just put their lander and rover on on Mars. And as soon as their space station's done, they're already working on the components to put on the moon for their first moon base. It's not a joke.
What's happening?
Everybody's moving on it so quick and throwing money at it like it's no object. It just doesn't matter anymore. They'll print what they got to print. They'll do what they got to do. They'll Band-Aid what they have to Band-Aid. Now, what is taking place that we don't know about that has everybody in such a fever pitch to get the hell off of Earth? Might be a good question to ask.
That's a hell of a question, actually. Is that right? Like kind of like we've been saying, right? That whole maybe the Great Reset actually is kind of instituting the largest breakaway civilization ever, right? And so we're you know, like kind of like that movie Elysium, like we've talked about in the past with Matt Damon, where you know, the unwashed masses like us, we just live in the squalor of Earth with all the pollution and all the crap, like kind of just flinging poo at each other down here, fighting over the scraps, and they've taken all of the technology and all the stuff into orbit, right? And we're not even talking like living on the moon or living on Mars, anything like that. They're on like this huge ass satellite base. So, I mean, like, you may be right. Maybe the Great Reset has everything to do with the space race. And like you said, I think it's a fantastic question. Like, why the hell are we in such a damn hurry to get off the Earth all of a sudden? It kind of makes you wonder, right? Fantastic stuff as always, Tim.
Well, I'm pretty sure people from the future are protecting the past. So there is a future, Mike.
Yeah, so meaning that...
Martin Marietta. Now, any place a portal opened up, they built a big hangar. There's still one today. It used to belong to Martin Marietta. It belongs to Gulfstream now at the old Glencoe Naval Air Station. It's now a small airport, and the rest of the base became the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center down here. But different people that worked there when it was a naval air station while the Vietnam War was going on that would pass through here had incidences where a portal would open up. I know several people personally that experience happened to, and it was over decades period of time. And these are reputable people, military people, former Navy and Air Force people, civilian contractors with security clearances and stuff. And mighty funny that they would build that hangar and building and maintain it to this day, all the way from the late 60s there. And see, Martin Marietta had another facility, and they were also tied to Project Montauk as well. And but now different things have been seen through that portal, and there's been a few gutsy enough people to step through it and step back through. And pretty soon, I know at least one person willing to give that story, and I'm going to get them to come on the show and speak their piece about it. And I think everybody will find it quite interesting what they have to say, because the person on the other side of it recognized, that they were a person and continued on about their work, but kept looking back up at them and even, formed kind of a smile as if it wasn't the first time they had seen the portal open there on their side as well. And so it's not if these things exist, they do exist. They really do. And they happen at certain times. Getting it nailed down exactly what they're firing off and where, or exactly what series of events allows these things to open is a different story. Is it our past? Is it our future? That I'm not sure of. And the several people that experienced it, out of the one person that admitted that they went in and came back out, that person has been sort of almost forever young. They're in their 70s, and the doctor tells them all the time their organs are like in a person in their late 20s, which is pretty interesting. They've had, other stuff that would take most people out, and just, life was different for them, ever since that time. So there's a lot of real things out there. Maybe we'll never explain them. Maybe somebody out there knows the 110% truth, I would like to think nobody really has the corner on the total truth. I just don't see how that's possible. With so many things and so many variables to everything, you know what I mean?
Agreed.
It's a lot to take in.
Agreed,
really
bro. And you already know, man, you're in the right place. You're among a lot of folks who have similar questions and similar theories, and who knows? You know me. I'm not trying to profess the truth about anything, because the hell if I know. Like, it's so complicated, and there's so much depth to all this. And that's before you even really get past the propaganda. Before you even get past the propaganda.
If you go to General Atomics website and look up how their ITM reactors work, their experimental fusion reactors, and look at the big giant one they're constructing in France right now, it basically works off of feedback off of time distortion. And the new patent for the new ion engine that they actually tested earlier this year at a convention, they weren't going to hook it up. The guys that built it from the college, they weren't going to hook this engine up, and they decided at the last minute, hey, go ahead and hook the damn thing up, see if it works. Well, it did. And it runs off of energy coming out of literal thin air. It's pulling it from subspace, okay? All points in space or time are connected by energy, and that's how it works. And so they have an engine now that can take us anywhere we want to go in space within our solar system, and the sky's going to be the limit with this thing, the amount of thrust and the potential for it, because you don't need a fuel source anymore. So the days of the rockets are going to disappear in the next 20 years, and the days of the shuttle and the space plane and people making regular trips back and forth will be a thing that we see in our old age, and something our grandkids will see it going on above their heads on a regular basis. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that that's going to happen. It is going to happen. They're already building the vehicles, the mechanisms, and the future planning that's 100 years in advance. The topographical and city planning and building necessary to make these things possible. That's what it's all about, folks. And if you look at what the UN is, what the overall plan is for the nations involved, well, you kind of get the picture then. It all starts to make sense.
And back to the Georgia Guidestones. Tim, you were the best, my friend. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being part of the show. Thanks for the call. Plug your show. Tell them where to find your show, my man. Yeah, lots of smart stuff you're always talking about. Where do we find Tim if we want to check out your show?
Tinfoil Timothy on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Trovo, and DLive.
There you go. Tinfoil Timothy. Check him out. Fantastic stuff, my friend. We'll have more tomorrow and the next day. God willing, we're going to have a lot to talk about here because, like you said, the future is now. Things are changing very quickly, and I think there's a lot to consider that might be against us. And glad to have you on our side, my man.
Yeah, man. No problem, Mike. Great show tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Everybody check out Tinfoil Timothy, and let me know when you got that schedule up. I'll drop in and say hi. Okay, I'll be on your show too.
I will. I sure will.
I appreciate it, my friend. Thanks again. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
Good night. There you go. Simple as that, guys. You want to be on the show? 702-957-1037. That's Tim from Georgia. Tinfoil Timothy. Check him out. That show is amazing. Lots of good stuff going on over there. Him and his buddy John have got lots of amazing things to talk about. So let's go to Rohan because he's in the UK, and long distance sucks from the UK, and then we'll go to Jay after that. Appreciate the calls, guys. Rohan from the United Kingdom. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Good.
Back.
Go right ahead, sir. Welcome back.
Yeah. Good, thanks. Yeah, I was just listening to Tinfoil Timothy. He's great, man. He's great. I've only just cottoned on to him. Thanks for that, Mike. He's brilliant. He knows his stuff, man, and he's real like us, just a person. So,
I agree.
Yeah, I've got so many comments to make on what you just said.
I agree. Go for it.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go for it. Right, first things first. I've got a little list here. Right, I've wondered about this same thing that you said about, are aliens even real? All right, so, and then I remember once, it's a long story, but I seen this woman, she used to do the whirling dervish spinning round looking in the sky. And asked her about it, and she said to me, it says the whole world's inverted. It says all the demons come from the sky. They're not coming from beneath your feet. And it got me wondering about that. It's like they're always getting you look to the sky for aliens instead of on the earth. Or, do you know what I mean, like other dimensions. It's always, it's basically a motor car that drives from one planet to another because we're accustomed to that. Do you know what I mean? Always getting you looking up. And because so many things are inverted, I think, yeah, you kind of need to be looking where you already are, I think, if you're going to be looking for aliens. But anyway, so there's that. And plus, you could argue funguses some of the phosphorus groups of funguses are completely unique to only certain funguses, so they're alien, you know. But anyway, Jacques Vallée, that's what he says. Don't remember Jacques Vallée? He was saying these extraterrestrial craft are doing things the way that they're morphing and doing these strange things. It's more like some kind of spiritual thing, and there's no real evidence they're coming from other stars. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, continue. Carry on. I know you have a delay,
No,
so just keep talking. Just keep going.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
friend. Just keep going. You can automatic talk just like I can. So carry on, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah, sure. I'll just go. Yeah, Richard. I remember Richard Dolan wrote a book, After Disclosure, and that After Disclosure thing was sort of saying, well, if disclosure, he was saying disclosure must happen for so many reasons, and I agree with him. But at the same time, we're coming from our perspective, and they're coming from theirs. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think some of these people, look, when you're in a position of a military, you've got a certain mindset you've got to have. When you're in a government, you've got a certain mindset. You've got a certain cultural standards you have to do within certain jobs. Like in the military, like say loose lips do sink ships. You've got to keep your national secrets. You've got to be careful with that. So for a military personnel, you can never give up secrets. It's like death or failure. And for governments to be more efficient, more control makes sense. And these are honourable thinkings on square one. But it's how you conduct yourself and what you do with it with the new information. And I think that's the problem. We're coming from a kind of sane place. And some of these people in these positions of real power, they're not coming from a sane place. That's not me picking on personal people. It's because they've got these minds. Everybody's getting brainwashed. You know, you groom politicians.
I agree.
You're superior, don't you?
Yep.
You know, so they're never ever going to give this up willingly. They'll never give it up willingly. Because one, they're giving up all that power, okay, the ego stuff. You need ego to make you do these jobs. So to balance that out, when you've got to go so far extreme in one direction with it and then balance it out and then tell people it's it's a tall order for human psychology to do. So the reality is, if we're going to get this stuff, we need to be prepared to give all of our personal secrets away. That's how I see it. To get it all, we need to give out all the secrets of all the world to everybody, all over the place, all at once. That's my mindset. That's the only way you're ever going to see it all. There's no secrets. It's the only way.
Which will never happen. Which will never happen. Never in a million years.
Never happen.
No.
Never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Yeah.
Nope, absolutely not.
Maybe in a million years when we're spiritual, you know what I'm saying? But I can't believe Tim, man. I can't believe he's brought up temporal wars, because that's such a can of worms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So interesting note on that. So if privacy goes away like that and there are no secrets any longer, we talked about that as the way the aliens, presumably communicate with telepathy. And if you do that, there are no secrets, because you can read other people's minds. And so when somebody's a bad person, because you would just see it in their mind's eye. You would just know, like, this person is a despicable bastard, and that's that. And we had that show recently where that government employee said that she was taken to an alien base, and she was told by the aliens themselves that we have to get rid of this crude language that we use, and we have to be able to evolve quickly to communicate through telepathy. Exactly for that reason, because there are too many misunderstandings that happen because language is crude and clunky and archaic, and we need to kind of go beyond that. So interesting you bring it up as a kind of frame it in the privacy issue, meaning that nothing will change until there are no secrets any longer. And like you said, it may be a million years for that. That's one of the things that they love to have, secrets, man. The people in power, that's the whole point of it, right? Is to keep those secrets.
Yeah, it's got to keep running itself as well. And plus as well, if you get caught into, not everybody's waking up in the morning or as a baby thinking, right, when I grow up, I'm going to be this. You know what I'm saying? Some people are thrust into these places, and once you start going down certain roads, like the path to hell, isn't it? Once you've gone so far, there's a point of no return for a lot of people, I think. You know what I'm saying? As much as I can't stand Bill Gates, I've always thought he was, you know what I'm saying? But I'm from a different place, so probably got different propaganda. But at the same time, we're all still people. Yeah, and we're all still people that have got the cards we've got to play. And I've said it before, Bill Gates' mum and dad, he didn't come from good stock, did it? So I'm not trying to say it's okay, really, because, people make the choices. But, do you know what I mean? I think try and keep your perspective a bit. That's why I like this show and this station. People like Tim Timothy. So I appreciate it, man. Let's have sensible conversations, you know.
And people like you, my friend, people like Rohan from the UK. Definitely good stuff always, every time you call as well. So anything else while we got you on? Do you think that this propaganda run is based on something? Do you think they are trying to cover up Gaza or Bill Gates or something else? Or do you think that it's like a legitimate effort by the press to kind of put us in a new spot with maybe framing the UFO conversation in the zeitgeist?
Well, that's a good question. I think, well, to answer on the press, I don't think legitimate and anything in the sentence. I think the press is done to me. The press is done. They're cowards. So forget that. No, the press is just only just propaganda. That's all they can do. Do you know what I mean? They're just useless, bro. They've lost it. They've lost the plot. You know. I mean, like sort of globally, all these big conglomerate-owned ones, they're a joke. They're a joke. You know. So for me, no. We've got to do it all. We've got to do it all. And it's like you said, such a great point. I wrote it down as a quote. Mike Strange, look, there's so much depth in this before you even get past the propaganda. And that's the thing. That's why I have to keep going and asking these questions, and we're going to have to do this for a long time.
Agreed. This is a 10,000-year conversation that we've got one lifetime to achieve. It's hard, isn't it? But we're going to keep doing it. Like I said, God willing, man. Great people like you, great people like Tim, great people like Joe, great people like everybody out there listening. I know you're here for a good conversation. And again, who cares? Politics is a joke, right? Like politics themselves are breaking up families. They say blood is thicker than water. Well, guess what? Politics is making blood look like water, and it's a joke. Like, don't break up families. Don't hate each other over this crappy political narrative stuff. It's embarrassing. It's literally embarrassing. If you find yourself hating people because they told you to, you're the clown. You're the clown. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
It's crazy. Complete strangers that you're hearing words from for a speaker, looking at them, that are just pretty arrangements of pixels on a screen. And you never met these people. You've never seen them in action. You need to see people at work in action or in an emergency. You need to see what people are made of before even beginning to make an assessment on whether they can be trusted. You've got to at least see their eyeballs, haven't you? No, it's a joke. It's cowardice. That's what it is.
Exactly.
In my view.
Exactly. I'm with you. I'm with you, dude. We got to wrap this up. So final thought while we got you on the phone?
Yeah. No, I just love the show, man. It's cool. It's nice to have, it is a good point, right? It's nice to just have these same conversations, just it's therapy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for a lot of people, myself included, my man. I'm glad to be part of the group, and I'm glad to have you with us.
Yeah, all right. You take care. And shout out, take care, Bunny.
Thank you. What's up, Penny Bunny? Thanks. That's Rohan from the UK. Catch him on the Fringe Discord, and he's always sharing our links. I appreciate it, Rohan. We'll talk to you soon.
See you later.
Thanks, man. There you go. Simple as that. So that there are large questions in here. There are many things at stake, and it's why we have this conversation. Like I said, if you find yourself spitting on each other and hating people because of politics, like I said, you're the clown. It's on you. It's do not make the mistake of blaming the press, because we know what they're up to. If you fall for it, it's on you. Thanks again for all the great calls tonight. Let's go to Jay. Jay in New York. Thanks for waiting, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Fall for it. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you? I'm feeling good tonight.
Yeah, I mean, good. There was that whole thing with the YouTube and everything else like that at the beginning of the show that kind of bugs me a little. But, got him with Timothy at the end, and then Rohan there. And yeah, I mean, it's like, I almost felt like we're being led down a road, let's just give you a little bit of information here and there and drag you along the thing. And we're right there where they're just reiterating stuff that we saw in comic books and the back of magazines and everything else like that for 80 years now, giving it back to us. And really, it's odd to me that why today, after what we went through for the last year and a half, that we have to think about those things, It's like, just tell us. I mean, at this point, we got our big boy pants on, and New York State, we're finally allowed to take our masks off if you got your vaccine.
Guess what? I had my vax.
You got it?
Well, no, but force me to prove it. And what's the difference, right? Yeah, don't take that as gospel.
I identify as vaccinated personally.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's how you identify, right? Yeah. So I mean, the nanny state, all the rest of this, I don't know. Like, think about it. We just, the more, like Tim was saying, the Great Reset, and like Rohan was saying about communication and privacy and the rest of this, like we kind of are in a bad spot with the way technology is progressing. Think about it. Think about that notion real fast. So Rohan was saying that none of this will ever come out until there are no secrets. And what I said is there's no secrets until everybody's got telepathy. But we're talking about technology that's on the way, like Neuralink, where you're going to be able to basically see people's thoughts and memories before we can even communicate in an organic manner through telepathy. You see what I'm saying? So like the machines.
We've done it. We just did it.
Well, exactly.
We disassociated everybody from everybody else. Stay in your house. Don't do anything. Don't see anybody. Chat on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want anything that's not going to get into the AI.
It's too late. It's too late. And so hold on. Let me clarify. I got some people in the chat. So like I said, I do not endorse or say you should not get vaccinated. I want to make that clear. Like it's a personal decision, and you should check with your doctor and make the best decision for you as an individual. All right. I want to be clear on that. I just want to make sure that nobody misunderstands. Okay. So don't take it wrong. Please don't take it wrong. I understand, people hear what I say and, kind of want to run with it, but don't take it like that. Everything is a personal decision to me. And so I don't make decisions based on what the propaganda media tells me, nor should you. Okay. It's a personal thing. So I just want to clarify. Okay. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Sorry, Mike, that I had you throw the disclaimer out there for me.
You're good, man. You're good.
I've been sick for 3 weeks. I'm going to get a test to see whether or not I got the vag tomorrow, just because I've been sick, not going to go, it sucks.
It sucks. It sucks.
It sucks. A little bit worse than the flu.
It sucks.
Can't breathe. You're tired. It's a horrible thing. It's real. It's definitely real.
Of course it's real. Yeah. No, never claimed otherwise. So crazy stuff. Like I said, I just don't want to give you guys the wrong idea, and also, like clearly for the censors that are out there transcribing every damn word I say. So anyway, okay. So one, Jay, feel better. Thank you for listening. Thanks for staying up late with us. Get better, my man. Feel better. Hope your test comes back all good and everything is cool. Let's see. NS says, ask him if he can smell or taste. That's a good question, actually.
Tasting is bad. Headaches. The breathing thing is what bothers me. It's like constant asthma attack. That's what it is. Yeah,
that's not good.
No, it's not. So I thought I was doing tiles and stuff like that, and, in a bathroom that was like 120 years old. And I thought it might have been mold or something like that, and get over it. And 3 weeks into it, I was like, wow, this is lingering on a little bit longer than it should be. Because when you do construction work, sometimes you get into nasty crap, Yeah,
what about asbestos?
Well, it's not there. I mean, I know that it's not there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it was tested.
Okay. Good.
It's an insurance company building,
Gotcha. Okay. Just checking.
But
I know you know these things, but I'm just checking.
Yeah, it's great to, eliminate the possibilities, when you're trying to solve a problem. The first thing you want to do is eliminate the things that are not part of the problem.
There you go. Exactly right. Exactly right. So if you got to put a label on all this stuff, what do you think the media is trying to do with the 60 Minutes, the UFOs, and all the rest? What do you think?
Warming us up, Mike. They're just warming us up.
For what?
Hey, look, they're going to be here in like, I don't know, 26 hours or something like that. You're going to see them up in the sky. If you're smart, throw your cell phone down, run away, plant some spuds. I don't know, Mike, really. How am I supposed to know? I'm just a stupid carpenter, I mean,
hey, man.
I listen to Buddy's show.
Man.
I listen to Tinfoil Timothy. I read Rohan's links and stuff like that. I talk to Dark and Devious and stuff like that. All the things that are going on in the world right now, and it's like, well, yeah, man, how the hell am I supposed to know?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I'm just asking for your opinion, my man. It's okay. It's okay.
I mean, and my opinion is if I see the great big thing like Independence Day show up, I'm not going up to the top of the tallest building
with the sign that says "Welcome."
Yes.
No,
I'm going to be putting a hammer on my cell phone. I'm going to be running out into the woods with my slingshot and some seed potatoes.
Exactly. My slingshot. Right. Exactly. I speak your language, my friend. All right. Well, let's finish this up, man. First things first, Jay, feel better, man. Feel better. Like I said, you're up too late to be feeling bad. Go to bed, my friend. Get some rest. It's part of the equation. You need to rest. Thanks again.
I've been sleeping I take like a 3-4 hour nap, and then I'm up for 2 or 3 hours, and then I take a 3-4 hour nap.
Okay.
So I'm like,
okay, just making sure you get your rest, my man. Just making sure. Part of the equation for sure. You need your rest to get better. All right, so wrap this up. Finish this sucker up. I like doing the outros with Jay. Let's do an outro, Jay.
Join the Discord, man. Get in there and talk to us.
Your final thought on the topic tonight, and then we'll do the outro. I'll play you some music and everything.
I really think that this stuff has been going on forever and ever, and we're just the plebs. What did you call it? I'm sorry.
The plebs. The
pawns, peons.
Yep.
Yeah, that's us.
Yep. That's us.
And unless we make a lot of money on a Dogecoin, you're not going to Mars. So try your best to be happy where you are and have some fun. Get outside, get some sun. Play with kids, the dog, whatever.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. As Kelly says.
Yeah.
Kelly says we are a skeleton in a surrounded by some like a bag of meat, traveling at like tens of thousands of miles an hour on a globe through the galaxy. There's no reason to be afraid. It is what it is. The control we have is so slight and so small that it's all good, my friend. It's all good. No need to be afraid is my point. Let's finish this up, man. Outro, Jay. Go.
Get in on the Discord and have some conversations with us. Post your stupid little memes and great articles that come across all over the place. And let us know the information that you got so we can all learn together.
There you go.
Have a good day.
There you go. Feel better, Jay. Feel better, Jay. Lots of love for you in the chat, man. People appreciate you a lot, as do I. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks, Jay, for calling and being a part of this. You guys know what to do. Share the word. Spread the word far and wide. We are growing like crazy. And let me tell you why. Because people cannot find an honest conversation out there. And so it's refreshing in so many ways. And we talk about aliens, for crying out loud. Spread the word. Thanks again, Jay. Thanks again, everybody else. Be sure, be strong, be true. At the end of this, we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific. We'll have Ash on the show. We'll be talking about some more weird shit. Let's hear what Ash has to say tomorrow about all this mainstream media coverage. But all right, let's finish it. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. Come on, Jay. You got to mic drop something.
Oh, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to say?
I don't know. Something amazing.
You put me on the spot.
Something amazing.
I got nothing. Damn it. You put me on the spot.
No. Listen, if somebody tells you, Jay, say something amazing, you just say something amazing. Say it.
Oh, damn it.
Something amazing. Just say the words. Something amazing.
Create a peaceful day.
That's also amazing. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific. We'll be here with Ash doing more Troubled Minds, hanging out, having a good time. And thanks again, Jay. Thanks for the call. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Feel better. Feel better. For real. Prayers,
I hope so,
energy,
Mike.
Vibrations, all the things. Send it over. Send it your way. Send it Jay's way, everybody. Jay's in New York. Appreciate it, my man. We're out of here. We're done. I'm smashing the button and we're out of here.
All right, good night, Mike.
Something amazing, Jay. Something amazing. Good night, man. We'll talk to you soon.